Welcome to episode 145 of Video Game Bullshit. Goodness. Tristan, we're back.
Jeff.
We're back. Holy shit.
I think we both got lost somewhere.
I'm lost in the desert over here. And we've had a hell of a time with craziness going on both sides to just sync up and record. It's been a while. It's been crazy.
I'm actually interested to see, between, I think our last episode was 143. I want to see my facial hair between then and now, because I'm kind of a mountain man now.
Like the gray streaks.
Yeah. Those are racing stripes.
Yeah, mine is just 4-day weekend. So
yeah, exactly.
That's all mine.
So that's actually a good question. Are you going to do like everybody else getting out of the military and just let it all grow out and see where it goes? Or it seems like everybody does it.
I know. After about a week, it's itchy.
Well, yeah, it gets all itchy. No, I totally get it, but you got to power through that. You got to power through that itch.
Now, I am not going to do the neck beard. I'm probably going to shave here.
Yeah, for sure. Same.
But if I do, it's really up to Andrea if she lets me.
You should do just a handlebar mustache, curl it.
Do a curly mustache. Yeah, it has been a crazy, wild time though since the last time we recorded. I mean, I moved from Hawaii to Texas. I am currently in training at the United States Army Sergeant Major Academy. Been writing papers. Even last week had a 2,000 word, not 2,000 page, 2,000 word essay. And then we have briefings, and next week we got more briefings and tests. It's just constant. Did a PT test a couple weeks ago, and I got over my 540, so I don't have to get taped. I don't have to get my BMI done. Well, and realistically, I'm underweight for the Army for what they want from me for my table weight. But if they give me 1 inch shorter, I'm right on the margin. So I was like, let me
punch.
Give myself a buffer.
Just stand in a hole.
Exactly. It's not like you were going to say something.
No. I was actually wondering, because you said that you're in the thick of all these projects and tests and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that your school is a year long? Is that right?
Yes.
Whew.
Yeah, we got here. I mean, because we started moving at the end of May. So June, July is when we started the course. But I graduate, I pin Sergeant Major and graduate in June.
Dope.
Yeah. And they don't expect us to be expert writers. They want to give us a kind of almost like a baseline of professional writing, because we're going to be working with generals and officers and stuff. So they want us to be proficient. So basically from what they told us is that if you get through the PT test and you don't cheat, you're going to be a sergeant major. They will work it. You may not be, you might not have commandant's list and be the best of all things, but they will help us become better writers and all that stuff. And fortunately, I know how to write. So I've had no problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're kind of a lock already. You've sort of written a few things here and there.
Now I am helping out some of my buddies, my neighbors, because everywhere around here, all my neighbors are, just every house is a neighbor that is in the course with me. So I went over to one guy not familiar with writing. I'm like, all right, so here's this APA standard from Purdue.
Ooh, gross. No.
It literally
APA.
Yeah. And so, but they literally say what sources. So I just showed him the website. I'm here's where you do the italicized. And even though I gave him the website before, he didn't really know how to do that in writing in a references page. So I'm going to help out people to make sure that they're at least set up for success. I didn't help him write nothing. I didn't help him write anything. I just helped him format.
Yeah, structure and all that good. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and it's even when you're doing writing about a historical thing, because there was an option to add a historical to the paper last week. I was well, you got to source it. He's well, it's general knowledge. And I'm where did you get it? He showed me the website. I'm like, cite that website, just give them credit, put it in there. You're done. You didn't get, if you didn't get it from your brain, if it isn't like I'm putting my own piece on it, you at least give them credit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure.
And then they're heavy on no using AI at all.
Yeah, and that's that was another question you kind of beat me to, because like, you know, nowadays it's another tool, but I mean, you and I both know that to the trained eye, and I'm sure this is across the board for teachers now. They're getting this information, but you can tell whenever it's AI,
There's
just straight up
patterns.
AI, huh?
There's
There's absolutely patterns, and
Yeah.
you know, especially like nowadays, whenever you like get to know a student or whatever, you can tell if it's them or not.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
Now, what they do let us use, which I hadn't used, and it created a I'll talk about later, a rabbit hole for projects, is Grammarly. We're allowed to use Grammarly, and I never had a Grammarly subscription.
I've never used Grammarly or anything like it.
Yeah, interesting. I'll talk about it later when we talk projects, because there is a rabbit hole that I went down. But it allows us to, so it gives you better ways to write things. But also, like, there is a spot where it will help expand with AI, which is dangerous to me. But they did say we could use that stuff, so I'm using it to make sure that things are readable.
Sure.
But yeah, Grammarly is interesting. I'll tell you that. So when we talk later about the projects, I'll go on my rabbit hole about that, and we can be like, Will. Dude, it's been a wild time in this course. It's gonna be like this. I know we're doing premium updates as we can, because I think the team has a October Halloween direct coming. So yeah, like I know we got to make some art for that. But I also, like, on the weekends and stuff, I've been working with Premium to submit their next round of games as well. And I know cartridge orders are happening, physical orders are happening. Because I think we got about 4 games currently being processed. For physical. It's a constant thing. We were talking about before the recording, but it's like we're on point. We don't have that big of a backlog with Premium. It's just getting stuff from people. That's basically
it's like the biggest part of it is always communication, and like, you know, there's a little bit of ambiguity on the team, and we have to push back, because like whenever we're handed these projects and like introduced to these devs that we're not even ready to work with, like we still need some like input from other team members to keep the ball rolling while we prepare to actually work actively on their stuff, and then it's in our court.
Exactly. And the thing is that, like, we're getting current production done, stuff that we're already ready for, and then the stuff that when it gets ready to go onto a direct, whether we've announced it or we haven't, that's when we need to start communicating with the developers. Before that, like, we'll sign a game, and sometimes even if it's in like the works, we'll sign it for like a year or two early because it's not finished. But like, that's not when Tristan and Jeff and design need to start talking to them. That's when
exactly. I mean, and God Shard Chronicles is a perfect example of that. That, you know, is a kickstarted game. Like, there was a basic structure, but yeah, the game's nowhere near being done, but it's being actively worked on. There's no reason for the design team to be talking to the game that's there, the developers that are actually actively making the game right now.
Nope.
We're just not ready for that.
No, and I mean, you know, it's like I'll shoot a message or something, but like I'm not going to give them a whole holistic detail on everything we need. And I mean, I have, like, you know, there's certain standards that we always do at Premium, but it's wild. It's still crazy that we make games. It's fun.
I know, dude. I every once in a while, like, think about it and like, just what, you know, how did this happen? I mean, you know, I know how it happened. Like, you, sir, are what opened up all these opportunities for me.
Just
basically.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and I will tell you though, and this is a real talk for everybody on the podcast. The hardest thing is that because I had to continue in the Army, I actually had to transfer the ownership of the company. That was a hard decision, because there's no way I could be in this course, be successful here, and continue to run premium like currently. Like there was no way. So I had to transfer over to Josh, and he's been doing awesome. But it was like that kind of stuff, like taking the baby you create and going, here, take care of it.
Like, don't mess it up, please.
Don't drop it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I just don't have the time to dedicate to everything, all the business stuff. Because there's a lot that I was having to take care of to make sure the business was optimal. And I mean, we're using it as an opportunity too to like focus on books, which is nice because like I have some books projects that need to get like finished and done.
Samesies.
Yeah, and I mean, in the project section, it'll be fun to talk about. Let's see. The other part is now I've set up, this is our spare bedroom, which is turned to the office. You can see my wife's computer right here, where she's like got her little section. I'm actually recording on my Lenovo Legion Go right now instead of my laptop. So I used to use my laptop and record on a tray in Hawaii, but now I actually have my desk. I have the Legion Go sitting right here, and then I have my big old 4K television that I use as a monitor. And if I had my glasses on, I wouldn't be able to see anything because I'm too close to the monitor. Yeah, I mean the monitor is like right here in front of me.
That's funny.
And then I have a camera right here that I have so I can do everything. But it's been pretty cool getting the game room set up. I don't have the games are like in the bedroom in a cubicle like they were in Hawaii. Over here though, we got some extra cubicle for extra stuff. Like I have your books, which I see over your right shoulder. I got yours sitting over here to go through for QAQC and stuff like that. But I also have, so I can play my Legion Go on the big TV because it is a dock. I mean, it's literally a PC dock essentially. Yeah. And then I also have my Analog Pocket hooked up to it. So I got the Analog Pocket and the Nintendo Switch, which I have with the tiny little mini dock for the Switch, which was pretty fun. And that's actually something that we can talk about with something else that I was playing, which I have when we get to what we've been playing, because it opened up a couple opportunities, which is fun. And then the other thing that I want to been up to is properly documenting my damn collection. So like I'll go to GameStop and I'm like, I don't know if I have this game or not.
Yeah.
And I don't collect everything.
Struggle, man.
Yeah, I don't collect everything. I typically I've been using this one app on my phone forever that I have, which I have all my Switch games in and everything. But there's another app that was created. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called One Up. So One Up app.
That's a new one to me. Like I've been using, so it started as collectors.com, and then the app that they ended up using is CLZ. It's pretty comprehensive, but they've been around for like over 15 years.
I know that they have movies and music and shit too.
Yeah,
right?
And books and everything.
I for some reason didn't dig that app because I've tried using apps. For a while I was using my own Excel spreadsheets. But that's not as fun. I think it's Game Eye that I've been using.
Yeah, Game Eye. Yeah,
I've been using Game Eye for years, which I like. But this One Up app is made by Caleb, Phoenix Resale. Phoenix Resale came by when last time I was at Midwest, which was in 2023. He was there filming some stuff, and what he does is he does his YouTube channel where he goes around and wants to complete his collections, and he buys and resells games to fund his collection. So it's Phoenix Resellers app. It's pretty cool because you can create these like buckets, like these little like categories, and be like Nintendo Switch games, and then you can turn on the scanner, you can bulk scan and go boom, 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 all your games, and you can put them new or not or used, and it gives you a value immediately of what they are from eBay. Now, and then there's an interesting thing, which I don't know how it bundles, but you can use used games and bundle them in sums of 200, and you can like sell them through PayPal. Now, I think this is cool. Like, I don't think that's like I can see what Tristan does and Tristan can see what Jeff does. I think Caleb can literally just buy these from you for $200 for seed value. I think it's literally his way to buy stuff from people.
Yeah, more efficient.
I think so. People are like funneling stuff to him.
Respect, man.
But it's very interesting. I was going to use it to potentially collect Turbo Graphics 16. Yeah. Now the limitations that I've seen, my concerns with it. Number one is like my first bucket that I created was Turbo Graphics 16. That is what it shows as my collection. So when I created like Nintendo Switch, I created PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, whatever else I have. Those don't count for the overall collection. It only counts that first collection I created, which is interesting. It also doesn't scour or scan PC Engine. So that's limiting for me because I want to do all regions. So that's very interesting. Probably because it's obscure. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say, like, apps like that are only kind of as good as their database. And that's kind of why I like CLZ, because they've been around for a long time, which means that for over 15 years, this repository has been just, honed. And, so they have so much information. And
is CLZ the one where you can take like pictures of your actual games if they don't exist and put it in there?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think why I don't use that then is because I was doing that and then somehow the whole app deleted itself when it updated versions like 10 years ago or something. And I was like, I'm not redoing my whole homebrew collection where I have the only copies.
Like, well, yeah, and that's actually another thing. Like if 1UP can give some love to aftermarket games, no app really does. Yeah, it sucks.
They're not in there. Now Game Eye does. They call them homebrew and they call them afterlife is what they call them in Game Eye. Afterlife. Okay. But there's no like rhyme or reason like what is what. There's homebrew's hacks afterlife. Now it's not comprehensive because going through my Turbo games, because a certain somebody got me some Turbo homebrews. And a couple of those are in there, a couple of those are not in there. Like Billy's Bad Day or whatever it is for the Turbo. That one is in there. Other ones are not, like Vax is not in there.
What about what is it, Titania's Song or something like that?
Mysterious Song? Yeah, that one's in there.
Mysterious Song, that's what it was.
Yeah. Now, in Game Eye, though, you remember that 4-in-1 horror, Vista Productions horror cartridge that I got from that's in there.
Weird.
So I'm like, that random thing that the guy only made for people on Facebook is in the app, though. So I don't know. And I am not going and adding things to the apps. I'm just using them. So the other thing for 1UP and for Game Eye and probably for CLZ is that nobody is currently tracking premium correctly. Game Eye's close. Game Eye's real close. 1UP has one instance of each of our games.
You just gave me an idea. I got to write this down real quick.
Yeah. I'll continue. Demons Tier Plus in 1UP only has the Gamers for Gamers exclusive. It doesn't have the standard edition. It doesn't have the retro edition. Just the Gamers for Gamers exclusive. There's other ones where it has the retro and the standard, like for Love 3 and Eagle Island, but there's no price for the retros. It's like in Phoenotopia has it just says Phoenotopia. It doesn't say if it's the standard or the retro edition, and it has it for like $120. So I'm like, and Robot Named Fight, it has the Steelbook edition, not the other 3 editions. So the fact that we create multiple editions, that app doesn't handle those editions correctly.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Not that if I told Caleb he couldn't fix it, because he probably could.
Sure.
But very, very interesting. What were you writing down? You're going to add to CLZ?
Oh, yeah, no. So it has to do with I think we'll wait until our project updates because it has to do with that.
There is something I'm going to have to go out and grab too when we got I didn't put it in here, but like anything that we've picked up, any pickups. Gotcha. I don't really have any.
Yeah, I actually need to, if we're going to do that, I do need to grab something off the shelf that's pretty cool.
We'll pause we'll pause. We'll do that.
We'll do that in editing.
We'll do it in post. We'll take a break.
Well, what I've been up to mainly is while you've been moving your family, I ended up going to California and spending time with my immediate family. Like, not all of us haven't been together in about 14 years was the last time. So like we had kind of a family reunion of sorts and had a lot of fun. My nephew, Alex, the last time I saw him was at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, but he was like 9 months old at the time. So he really's never met me until
Now he's a
now.
teenager.
No, no, something like that. No. I said 14 years ago. It was when all the family was together. But like I saw the nephew in, I think it was like 2019 or something. So he's like 4 or 5 or something like that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. As you can see over my left shoulder, I have a new NOS fridge that popped up on eBay, and there's a little bit of a story behind that. I'm not going to go into detail, but the basically the gist of it is the seller messed up the listing and flagged it as like an 11-pound package whenever he sent it, and he dropped it off at UPS, who then gave it to USPS, who sent it all the way to Papillion, and then they're like, wait a second, this is like 96 pounds, and you paid for an 11-pound package. We're returning to sender. And I'm like, whoa. So I had to like get a hold of the postmaster there and like try and hold it, but they still owed like $200, which
Jeez.
the seller refused to pay, but I still got like an insanely good deal on that. So long story short, I ended up eating that money, but while I was picking this up from the post office, I tore my calf.
Old man Tristan.
Old man, yeah, I wasn't even straining or anything. We had it on a dolly. I was like backing it down a ramp, and I felt like someone like kicked me in the back of the leg like really hard. I look back, nothing's there. And I remember during the NBA Finals one year, Kevin Durant, that happened to him. He looks back and like no one's there. He had torn his Achilles. So like I assumed the worst. I couldn't like walk or anything.
I'm thinking the classic WWF where Vince McMahon runs to the ring and both of his quads tear and he just sits there.
I don't know that.
It was like a
that
John
happened?
Cena. It was like a John Cena thing. He's like running in. He's like doing his whole walk, and he goes
like
in there.
In real life, he tore them both,
and he slid into the ring and both quads tore. And he went to stand up. He's just like sitting there. He's like yelling at him while he's sitting there, still in character. He ripped both quads. I'm like,
damn, dude.
Tristan
that's dedication.
Moving a mini fridge.
Yeah, it was bad, but it works, and I'm healed. I was like, dude, I was on crutches or whatever, using a cane for like 4 weeks almost because it was so bad.
Oh yeah, no, it's no joke. Like when something like that,
yeah, dude.
goes.
Let's see. And then I went to KC Retro, which was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. So I saw Scott while I was there. I don't think we're going to be doing that show again. It's very, very slow and small.
Well, and I told Scott, I was like, that's the same weekend as Retro World Expo, which is huge in Connecticut. By the same guys who are part owners of SoCal.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
If you haven't seen it, actually it was Caleb, guy who made one up. He did a documentary on SoCal Gaming Expo. They showed how big it is, how convenient it is. Like, it's something where like even Josh would be interested in going to as many conventions as he does, because they show how the loadout was the load-in was optimized so the sellers didn't have to wait. How that's the cool. Lines, they pre-checked in people for the lines, so the lines flowed in as soon as they went in, because it was wrapped around the building. How many people there were. Like, it was wild. Like, it was a crazy ass show.
SoCal is Los Angeles, right?
It is in Pasadena.
Okay.
Pasadena, which is essentially near LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's near Hollywood. Because I was staying on the Hollywood Strip, and I drove to Pasadena in the morning to go there. I was there. I did a panel with John Lester on Saturday, which I still need to upload the panels, I think. I don't think I uploaded, like, our panel or whatever. like I need to do some panel uploads. But yeah, I went there, had fun. They also did the Tetris World Championships there. But like, that's somewhere where like premium should have sold. So Retro World Expo that same weekend as KC, I was like, yeah, we should probably have been selling there. I know in the past that's Barry went to that one and sold. Barry, because he lives right down the road. Like
he's East Coast, so
yeah, him and old Turd Ferguson went there. Yeah, there's some news with that one.
I was about to say we got some news. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but
Turd Ferguson. Oh goodness! Hey, listeners, if you want us to talk some inner organizational industry tea, if you want us to talk the tea, you just let us know in the comments. If you leave us comments in the actual app for like Spotify, Anchor, and all that stuff, you leave us a comment and we see that crap, we'll talk the tea. It's hilarious.
And even then, I'm sure it's out on Reddit somewhere. So yeah, just do a little searching.
It is on Reddit, but we'll talk the tea about the drama with certain people, and
because like
not in premium.
Reddit will tell one story, but we've got some. Well, you guys, I've never met the guy, so I'm on the outside looking in, but you guys have some inside information on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And just so you know, Turd Ferguson is the nomenclature for JP Switchmania, who used to be with Premium, and I did the Switchmania playcast with for a long time before the dude just like disappeared. But we got lots of stories on that. But we can talk the tea.
It's so funny, like one of the things that happened to me recently. One of our former associates. So I had a second podcast that I was doing for a little bit. We were 24 episodes in, and that individual and I have had a falling out that's irreparable. So there are just certain things that you tolerate as your friends doing for like the longest time, but then whenever it comes down to being like real stuff, you really got to like check where your morals are, and I just can't ignore his character flaws anymore. So we'll just leave it at that.
I mean, the thing is the world ebbs and flows. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All I know is my life is less stressful and better off without him in it. So
yeah, exactly. Well, sucks that you had to go through it, but I mean, thus is life.
Hey, you experienced it too, so.
Yep.
So you know what I'm talking about.
It does happen. And I mean, in the end, people will be who they are, and just keep having fun doing cool stuff.
Yeah, and that's all I want to do. Like, I want to surround myself with people that are passionate and actually have their own like ambition, and like if you surround yourself with people that are better than you, then you can better yourself. But if you the opposite, then you're just you're doing yourself a disservice.
Exactly. And I mean, some people have unrealistic expectations on what they expect from others and all this stuff. But like, as long as we all stay anchored and realize everybody has a life, everybody has shit that they're going through.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. Like, we're all hanging out and doing stuff. Shall we move to the news, Tristan?
One last thing. Because it doesn't have to do with the project, but it is something that happened to me recently. Ben's Game Zone. I was there a couple weeks ago, and about, I don't know, I'd say 15 minutes after I left, I get a call from Ben. Someone had come into his store, because he's like the biggest retro game store in town. It was a Creighton professor named Tim Guthrie. He's like professor of the arts and stuff like that. But he does short films. He like submits them to these like festivals, and he's actually award winning and all this stuff from like years past. But he wants to shoot a short story, which I have here. And he needed a gamer's space to shoot it in. So Ben reached out to me and got us in contact, and Tim has been over to my game room now and checked out all the lighting, and it's perfect for their shoot. So now they're going to shoot the short film that's going to be in the Omaha Film Festival and whatever film festivals are on the circuit. Nice. So my game room is going to be immortalized in a short film. I'm super stoked about it, and that the story It's very short, but it's pretty damn powerful. I'm not going to say anything about it, but damn, it's good.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, I'm
That's
excited.
And that's actually a perfect transition to news because the first topic is game documentaries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we'll update the little ticker for the news as we talk about it.
Oh yeah.
So N64 Quest is up on Kickstarter right now. That's Rob McCullum's newest documentary. This time it is chronicalizing Jay Bartlett's adventure to get the entire Nintendo 64 collection within like a couple weeks or something. And they're not allowed to use online. And they're not allowed to pre-stage any type of sales.
Okay.
And
so this is just going into it cold.
Is going into a cold.
And trying to find everything in the wild and whatever.
Yep. And then I assume that as soon as they say go, he can go and contact game stores and start doing the whole.
Oh yeah, for sure. Network and all that good stuff.
Exactly. And yours truly did get interviewed for that documentary at Game On Expo in Phoenix, Arizona, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
I know you had an opportunity as well, and I think I just couldn't make the time work at the time.
Well, it was whenever I was going that's what I was going through, all that like anxiety and depression stuff. So I just wasn't feeling it. I wish I had the frame of mind that I do now, because I would have jumped at the chance.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited for you. That's going to be really cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that one. And then there is another documentary in the works called Rarity 2. First Rarity is up on Amazon Prime. But it's Rarity 2. And I was interviewed like virtually in Hawaii about the collection. And apparently I was like one of the only ones that had a lot of history and insight into Papillion. Or not Papillion, Paprium. I always say that name wrong. Yeah. The one by Watermelon Team. Because I was a very, very, very original early backer of Pure Solar and followed the entire process. So I had a lot of details and historics that people didn't have for that piece, which was unexpected because that was not in the interview span of questions. But as soon as we start talking, I'm like, oh, yeah, well, there's this. And he's like, what? You know this? I'm like, yeah, man, I have emails. I have everything. And that's why I have the limited collector's edition of the game, too, because I was a super early dude.
I only got the Mega Drive version of it, not the Genesis version of it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's super cool with people making their documentaries and having fun with all that, because it's a pretty awesome adventure. And of course, while I was out traveling, I was on a couple shows as well. So once those come closer, we'll talk about it. But like Price is Right and Rescue High Surf, and I've done some acting.
Right.
Oh yeah. I was acting on Rescue High Surf and crazy shit.
That's ridiculous.
That'll be in a few months when the episodes come live.
You can show us your Screen Actors Guild card after a while.
I mean, in reality, I did have to register.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got a wet bump because I got rained on. And I was like, it felt good. It was hot as shit out there that day. It's been a while. There's been 2 Nintendo Directs since we recorded. I wanted to talk about the big one first from June, because that one was cool. And then the interesting one that they just had last week, it was okay. So what are your thoughts with the last Nintendo Direct? Because they literally announced a new Mario, a new Zelda, a new Metroid.
Metroid, you can have it. Mario, I'm always excited for a new Mario experience, but Zelda, we definitely have to talk about that, because this is the first time outside of the disastrous Philips handshake agreement that Zelda will actually be the protagonist in a game to save Link,
which is cool,
which is amazing. So
we're
getting a proper Zelda's Adventure now.
Yeah, and I do like that they keep on piecemealing and leaking out little trailers. And the newest trailer, you can literally put on and you can play as Link, essentially, as a little like ghost Link, and you get.
Seriously?
You get to actually.
I haven't seen these new trailers yet.
Oh yeah, it's cool. Like there's like I don't know if like you're channeling Link who got sucked into the dark world or whatever, or
Mm-hmm.
if you actually are just using the piece. But literally, she turns into a ghost version, and you actually have Link's attacks and stuff.
Oh, neat.
So, because I know that's been a major concern is that Zelda doesn't attack. She gets to copy things and make them come alive. So she could copy like even enemies and then they come alive and attack for you. But like, how do you
So she's
actually
like
attack?
Link Kirby.
Yeah, it's kind of
Damn
like
you!
Kirby.
Nintendo decided like managed to make another Kirby game. Damn it! Without making
Yeah.
a Kirby, we have enough Kirby games, Nintendo.
But it does have the Link's Awakening graphics, which I feel like always looked awesome. And I just hit my hand as I was talking. But also I like that there's a lot of insight and aesthetics into the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom world. So it's almost like a 2.5D version of those games, which is pretty. I think that's dope. I still want them to remake freaking Link to the Past though in that style. That would be fucking amazing.
Yeah, gosh, there are a lot of games that deserve the at least new coat of paint treatment. That I don't know that we'll ever necessarily see, but Nintendo keeps surprising us with. I never expected to see another Super Mario RPG, and my gosh, gimme.
Well,
There are
and
so many
that's the
games that,
Mario. What is it? Brotherhood is it called?
yeah, Brotherhood.
Yeah,
That looks so good.
the graphics in it look very cartoony. Like it
Love
looks
it.
like it looks beautiful.
Brothership? Is it Brothership?
Brothership?
That doesn't
I don't
sound
know.
right, but that's what's on Reddit right now. Let me
Yeah.
look.
But yeah, it looks really cool. Like the graphics look amazing. And so that actually goes into the topic that we're going to talk about in the episode a little bit, which we can kind of like flow into it during the news because it is topical. And it is Nintendo was doing this during the quote unquote final year of the Switch. Like, have they ever done this before where they've continually loaded us up with excellent games every month or two? They've given us some treats for 7-8 years. Like, you know what I mean?
And it doesn't feel like the momentum is dropping off. Like it's typical game or console generations do. That's usually why console manufacturers are like forced to put out the next iteration of their console because it's
Yeah.
losing momentum. But the Switch has not lost any momentum.
No,
Everybody has a Switch, so they're not going to get as many like hardware sales. So I can see the incentive on like putting out new hardware just to like boost that. But as far as like a platform to like put out awesome new games, the Switch is where it's at, dude. It's got
and it's
everything it
been a
needs.
while. Like Nintendo's never done this with the console before, not to this level. But
No. Yeah.
the one thing that really sticks out in my mind that they're doing that changes the game and it's why things feel different from my perspective is the elimination of the separation of handheld and console markets. So the 3DS went away to the wayside and the Wii U went away to the wayside. They created both markets into one. So it might be that traditionally with a handheld market, we did see trickle sales. But also, like, how long ago did the 3DS finally like stop first party games? Like a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago.
And Androdunos 2 was the last release.
But like first party Nintendo.
First party was probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
So and it probably took them a couple years to allow those teams to start Switch development fully. So I think what we're seeing is potentially like the fruits of the labor of, okay, now you have everyone focused on one console, and then we're seeing everything pop over. Also, third-party manufacturers aren't having to worry about two consoles and developing for two consoles. They only got to worry about one Nintendo console. So we're seeing like everything come to Switch. Everything's coming over. A perfect example is that we have Pokemon games coming all the time. And it's like, boom, boom. And that, to me, is still first-party Nintendo published. So that's still another game that gets sprinkled in there. And that would typically only be handheld. So now we're seeing these big first-party games. We're seeing these remake fun games that we would see on a handheld. But now we're seeing them for Switch and big first-party games. So I feel like it's like we're seeing all this stuff. And maybe it's not so much different, but it still feels like we get a lot of games. We're getting a lot of cool stuff.
We really are.
And by the way, just before I forget, I will take Metroid. I will take all the Metroids.
when it comes to the Metroidvania moniker, I'll take the Vania out of Metroidvania. You can have both. I've never been a fan of Metroid games. You know, and I played the original. Like, it just never resonated with me.
That's your problem, is that you played the original. You need to play Zero Mission. Like,
everyone knows. I played that one too. Yeah.
Everyone knows the original is very limited.
My mediocre opinion of Metroid isn't for lack of trying. Believe me. Super Metroid played it. Metroid played it. Zero Mission played. I played all the advanced games. I haven't played Dread. That's basically the only one I haven't played.
Well, and Dread's not going to change you, man. Dread actually, when I did the interview with the Metroidvania Guru a couple weeks ago, we both agree that Dread is a very poor Metroidvania.
Yeah,
it's
got a cool coat of paint.
It's very linear. It's very Souls-like in the fact that you gotta like figure out ways to escape the robots, which changes
one-hit kills.
Yeah, it's to me it didn't flow for me as much as I wanted it to.
That gimmick really didn't appeal to me.
I didn't get good either. So you know what I mean? Like if you gotta like grind away to figure it out, and like it's also very linear. But now here's the other thing, and we talked about it on the Metroid Prime episode, the remaster episode. I can't really get into the 3D Metroids. So Metroid Prime 4 looks awesome. I still haven't played and finished 1. I haven't played and finished 2 or 3. I will one day when I'm 87 or something. I don't know. But it just doesn't appeal.
And yeah, I mean, like games like that like kind of transcend like where they began. You know, Metroid was obviously a 2D Metroidvania kind of thing, the exploration, and then Prime took it into 3D, which is not traditionally where it was. But like for stuff like that, where you're not nostalgic for it, that's where I kind of fall apart with Metroid, because it doesn't mean anything to me. And if they like reinvent the wheel and put out a new Metroid game, I'm not going to be that apt to like try it out. I don't care about Metroid. Whereas, like, you know, if they put out like Castlevania Judgment on the Wii, I'm gonna try it, even though it's a shitty fighting game. But it's Castlevania, and I love it.
I feel like I got to be in the mood for a big first-person 3D world. Like now, third-person 3D worlds, like Elden Ring and stuff like that, are a different beast to me. But like from first-person, I go back to my anchor is Doom. Original Doom, where I'm going and murking everyone and spinning around and moving fast through corridors and shit. You can't really do that with the exploratory ones. Again, it goes to also like I never got into the Call of Duties and all that because it's more tactical. I'm more of a rip and tear, run through everything, and kill everything. That's also not how you play Metroid Prime. And there's a lot of exploration in Metroid Prime as well. So I got to probably be in a mindset to play that shit. Whereas going through a 2D one, that's like my bread and butter. Like that's what I love. But yeah, so it's a very interesting thing that Switch has us with. And it does lead us to the main topic, but we'll talk about it later. I'll allude to it, which is, with the Switch 2, are we going to keep collecting or not? We'll talk about that as the main topic later.
Okay.
Because like, I feel like it's going to be a bit feisty, and we still got other stuff to talk about. So it's, but yeah, it's like how we're going to collect in the future based on what Nintendo does. And, it's physical, collect physical. Because I've also got opinions on how I'm collecting differently now too.
Yeah.
It's a fun one. Is there anything else on the Nintendo Directs? Because the follow-up Directs, I think there's one game that we were testing that was in the main direct, which is pretty cool to see. But for premium, but like there was a whole lot of everything was pretty cool, but nothing out there that like made me go
I'm
crazy.
going over. I mean, I like that they're putting out the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. That's pretty badass. But I mean, I think
cool.
that's multi-platform.
Yeah, you got Castlevania Dominus Collection with the NDS games. That's cool.
Awesome.
I was tracking because Xander sent me a message. Xander Scullion, who was on for an interview. Apparently, that Haunted Castle is a remake like the WiiWare games.
Okay.
So like Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, where they redid Castlevania The Adventure and updated graphics. They did that for Haunted Castle and rebalanced the arcade game to make it better. So he was telling me that is impressive. That's the reason to get the Dominus Collection. So I'm actually kind of excited to play that game. The DS games are great. All the Game Boy Advance and DS Castlevanias, they're Metroidvanias. They're really cool.
Or if you want to play the original Haunted Castle and you don't have access to the arcade game, then you're going to have to get the Oritachi Game Center Zoku release on the PlayStation 2 in Japan, because that's the only release they ever had of it.
And then unofficially, they did create an FPGA Haunted Castle that's available on a not really jailbroken Analog Pocket. So you can play it perfectly. I was actually playing it on my Pocket the other day. And you can play any region that they've released it in. I think there's like 2 or 3 regions of Haunted Castle. I think you can put in like multiple quarters, and the quarters will refill your life a few times too.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know you could do that, but I think it's limited on how much you can do. But yeah, you can definitely play the FPGA and fully programmable or field programmable array for FPGA. It emulates hardware as effectively as the programmer does. Actually, that is one of the Patreons I subscribe to. It's like JT something, but he has a project of doing all of the arcade games that he can figure out. So he's always working on ones. They did Circus Charlie this week, as well as the Neo Geo Pocket Color. So they're working on the Pocket Color. And so essentially, if you subscribe to them, number one, you give them a couple bucks a month, which is cool to continue to work on stuff. And you get early access to all the beta stuff. So eventually it's all released for free, but I want to support him so he keeps making the shit.
Exactly.
So like, I was like, I'll give him a few, whatever the subscriber tier was. I give him every month. I get to follow along, which is cool. And I mean, we could talk about it on VGBS as I get emails and stuff. I can talk about it on episodes because it's super interesting to me to see how everything comes along. Because not only can you play that, but there's like hundreds of arcade games that they've done. I mean, there's so many cool ones, and the community is awesome. Like it's really fun to mess around with the Analog Pocket. It's like one of the things I like to tinker with.
So the final thing I have to say about the Nintendo Direct is, yes, it is Mario and Luigi Brothership, not Brother.
Brothership. Is there a ship in the game?
I like the logo.
Yeah, it's cool. I think the game looks excellent.
Yeah, I'll definitely play it. I love those Mario and Luigi games.
So, shall we talk about the Nintendo World Championships Kickstarter fund? So, yeah, because I don't think I mean, if I talked about it in the last numbered episode, I don't know, because I was just going over all my shit that I was playing. But it's still the gaming news, in my opinion. So we still got other stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay.
So interestingly, NWC, I was in Hollywood on a multi-story bus, like doing tours of Hollywood, and you were like, dude, you need to go on Kickstarter because they got the 35th anniversary of Nintendo World Championships. They got a gold cartridge. It's a bit pricey, but you should get one because support Robin and Thor, and there was a video with it and all this stuff about the Nintendo World Championships. And so the video had Thor Ackerlund, Nintendo World Championships master, who does our intros for VGBS. Robin Mahara, who is also in the Nintendo World Championships, and then Uncle Tusk himself, Vince, was in there, like playing with them, which was pretty cool. But the interesting thing and why I backed it wasn't because it was the 35th anniversary. It's because they updated the games on it to make it a more challenging version of the Nintendo World Championships,
which is
so
awesome.
I think that was the killer part. Is it started on a harder level of Tetris, and I'm not sure if there was any tweaks to Mario or Rad Racer, but
yeah, I guess I never read about that. I'm not sure.
yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely a higher level in Tetris.
Which I was excited about that they
Mhm.
it was a new game essentially at that point to me,
Mhm.
because it's a new experience. It's a new competition cartridge that they could potentially do at shows. So I supported it, all that. But
Same.
if you want to talk about it, apparently it went away.
Yeah, it went away pretty quick. I mean, like, so keep in mind that whenever they dropped this 35th anniversary Nintendo World Championship card, and they actually called it, what did they call it? It was just the night, or they didn't even say Nintendo. Like, it was the NWC Championship cart or something like that. They didn't say Nintendo in the Kickstarter purposely, which didn't help them in the end.
Yeah.
But so they did this concurrently with, Nintendo's own release of the Nintendo World Championship on the Switch.
Yeah.
Which we'll also talk about a little bit, because I know you have some exciting news about your
Oh yeah.
you're playing the game.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about when we talk about games we've been playing. But
Uh-huh.
I mean, my theory is that Nintendo actually took them down because they had the NWC NES edition in the works.
Yeah. I guarantee.
It's
Well,
a conflict of messaging.
I know, and I was looking at a lot of the messages on Kickstarter. Like, backers can, like, message the creators, and they're like, dude, how can you guys get away with this? Like, Nintendo's going to take you down so fast. And I think it was Robin that responded like, oh yeah, a whole bunch of these exist, they don't care. And then like a day later it was gone.
Well,
Like,
and most of the time Nintendo is good with fair use.
yeah, but that's
But
not fair use.
that's not fair use. That's using their games.
Yeah, it's their ROM. And
And
if
I
you're
don't know if like
charging,
one of those backers reported them or Nintendo's lawyers
yeah,
just found it. But because the classic is that Nintendo doesn't let you use their anything that looks like their logo. My first complete NES, Nintendo actually emailed me on it, and they gave me the requirements to make it within their realm of fair use. And it was like, because like Joe Simcoe, who did the artwork, he had his in a little Nintendo seal, and they're like, you can't use the Nintendo seal because it's too similar to an officially licensed project. You have to put unofficial somewhere on it. You can't use anything that's stylized off of actual Nintendo properties, like logoing and stuff. But you can like stylize the fonts to look like it. So like when I did my complete NES with the Nintendo Circle, that's cool, but I can't use Nintendo's official logo. So that goes to say when other people are using Nintendo's official logo, like on Pat Contry's book, he got away with it. Doesn't mean that it was legal, because you're not allowed to use Nintendo's logo without giving them royalties.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, I fully, Nintendo may not have even directly reached out to them. They may not have been the ones who took them down, but yeah, certainly someone reported it. Kickstarter takes a look at it, and if there's a valid claim to it, which there was, because they don't own that ROM, then Kickstarter will reach out to that Kickstarter, like the owner of the campaign, and say, hey, you need to change some things because you're in violation. And obviously, like, the ROM is the thing that they're selling, so they can't change it, so they had no choice to take it down.
Exactly.
When I did my console book, I made the mistake of using the Neo Geo rabid dog tag, like, just blatantly. And someone reported me, and I got contacted by Kickstarter and said, that's copyrighted or trademarked or whatever, and you can't use it. You need to change it. So that's where my picture of my cat now comes from, and I use him as a logo, which I think was fortuitous.
I think that's cooler.
Place. Yeah, I do too. So I'm glad that happened. But even as a placeholder, because I had planned on putting something else, you can't use it as a placeholder whenever you're selling your book or whatever you're selling.
Exactly. So it was very interesting to see it get taken down, which it's unfortunate that
I'm bummed because
I
it
wanted a
was,
copy.
what was it, like €300 or something like
It
that?
was expensive, yeah.
It
Whatever
was
it was.
very expensive, but it's a limited item, and for you and I, like, who collect this kind of historical stuff and love these competition carts and aftermarket games, it was kind of like a perfect mixture of everything. Like, it was kind of for elite collectors.
Yeah.
They kind of raised the bar, like making it so expensive that only those people would want it, and I did. But oh well. I don't know if they're gonna release it in some other like venue or what.
Who's to say?
If they do, I hope I get a copy.
Yeah, knowing them, they'll probably sell it at like Portland or something. Yeah, I won't be able to go, but
no, I'm not going this year either.
I honestly, while I'm out here in training, I have Christmas and I have spring break in March that I get a week. Outside of that, like I just had a 4-day weekend here, but I'm gonna relax and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not trying to travel during the 4 days that I have. Like some people are. I'm likely not going to. And now, if a convention happens to land on a 4-day weekend and I can make it, I will, because I'll fly back on Sunday, be back on Monday. But yeah, so far nothing's lined up on our 4 days. So it's like Labor Day weekend this weekend, not happening.
Kirkland actually almost flew out here this weekend to spend time with me, like stay at my place.
Nice.
Have you ever met Jad Garcia? Do you know that name?
No.
So he's part of that like friend group down there with Kirkland and all them. But Jad is such good people. Yeah, you may have met him. He's such a good dude. If you haven't met him, like I hope you meet him in the future because you would love him.
Yeah, I mean
everybody loves Jad.
Yeah, it's Kirkland. I did a panel with him at Let's Play Gaming Expo. Talked variant box arts at
Captain Variant.
Captain Variant did a nice cool panel with him. But yeah, old Nintendo age dudes, fun stuff. Yeah. So next piece of gaming news. Did you see the NES Maker Direct?
NES Maker Direct. No,
Joe Granato did a NES
Maker
I didn't
Direct
know. A couple
when
weeks
did he
ago.
do that? Seriously?
A couple weeks ago, he blind dropped it. So the NES Maker Direct is interesting because he not only revealed that he is going to open a store to sell games for creators, which I think is
that's really awesome. Yeah.
He's also doing teaching locally, but he's also going to start doing it virtually for those that want to begin programming NES using NES Maker as a backbone, but to learn into actual coding, which I think is dope.
Amazing.
And then Super Nintendo Maker. So they changed the program. It is now called Game Forge. It's no longer called NES Maker. NES Maker will be part of Game Forge. Game Forge is going to allow you to create NES games, Super Nintendo games, probably Genesis games, probably everything.
Dude, good for him, man. That's awesome.
And I think it also upports it to Steam. And
talk about like helping creators like make what they've always wanted to make. That's so badass. Like
I always say he's like the Messiah.
Seriously, got the Jesus beard. It was kind of a bait and switch, right? Like the Kickstarter that we backed, but something awesome came out of it. That NES Maker, and huge pat on the back for him.
In that direct, he did say that the cartridges are being manufactured.
So we're gonna get our NES game
after like 10
years. It was 2013, wasn't it?
It's been a while. My daughter is like 1. Yeah, my daughter is now a teenager.
Oh, wait. Hopefully, he makes those like super special for backers.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting over a decade, Joe. Come on.
I just remember it was like 2-3 years ago at Midwest Gaming Classic, and we went to like an after dinner with all the NES Maker guys and Joe, and Kyle had the classic quote of Joe Granato sitting there like the Godfather, like the Messiah, with all his minions, his people all around him. He's like, yeah, this is. Like that's what Kyle always said. It was like classic Joe. But the thing is, though, is that the guy has a crazy amount of ideas. And
Yeah, dude, the ambition, you got to freaking respect that shit.
And he figures out how to make stuff happen.
That's awesome, man.
I mean, I made the mistake of planting the seed that people can make any game in his little thing, and then he just goes crazy. And I'm like, Jesus, man.
Damn it, Joe, just give me a credit on that or something.
No, I'm good. I don't want no part of that.
Well, you know.
I want no part of that. I just want to play some cool new games, and now we get to. And the thing is that everybody benefits when he is a crazy mad scientist. Super cool. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, so the NES Maker Direct was cool. I'm sure there was other pieces that were mentioned in that, but that was the main gist, is that now it's like called Game Forge or something.
So was that I mean, obviously that was probably the big news, but did they actually like reveal new games that were made by NES Maker?
I don't think so. I don't think he was talking. I think he's talking specifically the NES Maker program at that point. Gotcha. Yeah, because I think they do that at Midwest Gaming Classic, the awards and stuff for that, the bite off stuff. That's more like that piece. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Another rabbit hole I've went in recently with news, and it's like some fan games and stuff that I've been finding. Are you tracking this thing called Mega Man Maker?
No. Oh, well, I mean, that's been worked on for quite a while. So if it's the same one, yes.
I don't know if it's the same one, but it was super cool, though. Mega Man Maker, I was playing it, and, you can make your own Mega Man levels, which I think is pretty cool. It's not Mega Man Universe, which was the fan-created game that has like multiple versions, but you can sit there and play random games like in Super Mario Maker, where you go online and you just play a random level and you get to try to complete it, which I think is awesome. And what I thought was really impressive is they actually made like a little game out of it where you can do like a Wily Castle run, and you can choose the difficulty you want to do. Like you want to do easy, medium, stupid, hard, like Kaizo, and it'll show Wily's Castle. You do the first level, and then it gives you a random level from the internet, and then you go to the second one, and then you do a random level.
That's cool.
And once you do like 4 or 5 levels, then you beat the game, which I think is cool. And
so, I mean, obviously, like Mega Man's kind of structured around like powering up Mega Man and like getting new abilities. So, like, are all of the Robot Masters in this?
As far as I'm tracking, you can pick from any Robot Master when you create your level.
That's cool.
Some of the fun levels that I had when I was playing it was like you had like only crash bombs. There's also new stuff. Like there's this one that was like this time stopper, and so it stops time, and then you can shoot certain platforms that will create platforms, and then you undo the time, and then you can do the time stopper again. So it was like more of like a strategic level where you could do time stoppers to traverse through the level as there's moving platformers and spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some other ones you'll have like I had like 2 or 3 different weapons that it would give me, and it was from different Mega Mans. Like you'd have like the Metal Blade and I don't know, a Shadow Blade from 2 different games.
Yeah.
All
you need is the Metal Blade.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I thought it was really fun to play. I would recommend it though, Mega Man Maker. Definitely cool.
On that same note, have you heard of Super Mario and the Rainbow Stars?
Super Mario and the Rainbow Stars. No.
Look that up, because
typing on my clicky thing.
Nintendo has not taken it down yet, but it's only a matter of time.
What's it based off of?
It's actually a brand new. Like the sprite work is all new. It's
retro?
a 2D. A retro 2D, like kind of Game Boy Advance-esque Mario 2D adventure, and it's really polished.
That's awesome. I will add that to the list, because there's there on the same place where I found Mega Man Maker, there was a Legend of Zelda 2 Link or Adventure of Link not HD remake, but like a full PC NES remake. That was really impressive that I played. There's a few others too that I was playing too, but like I definitely want to check out Mario and the Rainbow Stars.
It looks amazing, and it was like years in the making, and it's just one of those ones that like it's available right now. You can download it, but not for long. I guarantee it.
It'll be available in a repository somewhere.
Well, yeah. Shadow web, freaking like dark corners of the internet.
Exactly.
Once it's out there, it's out there.
There was one more piece that popped up, and I thought it was super interesting because for the news, I wasn't tracking that it was coming out at all. And, formerly doing a Switch physical podcast, I was like, where the hell is this game coming from? I didn't even know it was being worked on, being made. There are two 16-bit beat 'em up games. One is Halloween, where you play as Michael Myers. And the other one is Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh, cool.
And you play as Ash. They're made by Way Forward. I'm like,
these are probably actually licensed then. Yeah, for sure.
They're licensed, and they're going to be a physical on it. Like, how was I not tracking that there was two horror-based 16-bit beat-em-ups, retro-style beat-em-ups based off of two horror-themed, franchises.
That's sick, dude.
I mean,
Halloween, I really don't care that much about, but Evil Dead, hell yeah.
Well, it's like, it looks amazing. And the thing is that if we support these, maybe they'll make more based on like Jason and Freddy and stuff.
Yeah.
But like there's a collector's edition for it too, and it looks cool. But it's the collector's edition is a VHS, but it's more based off of Halloween, so it wouldn't interest you. But I think they need to do an Ash versus Evil Dead collector's edition, and then maybe
with like the Necronomicon like
X box. Exactly. I hope that and the thing is, those are two different games too. So, Way Forward has done a lot of amazing games. They've done, I think, like Shantae stuff, and
they're a great company.
So it's like very interesting that I wasn't tracking any of that, which is wild to me. Do you have anything else in the news, or should we move on?
Let me see here. I don't think I have anything else in the news. But let me check my notes real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, I jotted some stuff down. This is stuff I didn't cover in 144, so it's fun.
No, nothing else.
So let's move on to what we've been playing.
Okay.
And now, while I talked about a bunch of stuff I was playing in episode 144, I can't read that on your screen. Drink more NOS. No.
Drink NOS.
Oh, diabetes NOS. So much sugar in NOS. Can't do it. But what we've been playing. So I'm not going to talk about Elden Ring and Turtles that I talked about in the last episode. But let's talk Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, because I definitely have been playing that a lot. It's been fun. We got to update the little ticker too.
Yeah, thank you.
But so the Nintendo World Championships is a fun one. Of course, we both got the copies of it, the limited collector's edition with the little fake cartridge in it and all that fun stuff. That's cool as hell. But what's been interesting though is I've been playing it every single week because there are trophies that you unlock as you beat every challenge. So you play like get the first mushroom in Mario or something, and you get a trophy if you beat it in an A tier or above. And so you go through all the trophies. Well, there was trophies tied to the Nintendo World Championships mode, and there's like a time attack mode, like a little you play 3 different challenges back to back against other people online. And there's a silver and a gold. So the silver is a little easier, and then you have gold, and you compete versus people speedrun times, and you have to get first place, and you get a gold trophy. Well, there's one's tied to doing 3 of those. You have to win 3 of those, and you get a trophy. So I had to play every week for 3 weeks. And in the Nintendo World Championships, it was participate every week. What's cool though?
Participation trophy.
Just participation trophy for 3 times. But I thought it was really cool is that the Nintendo World Championships mode is it gives you 5 different challenges, and you go back to back to back. You play them all as many times as you can to get the fastest time possible. So you're literally trying to speed run a specific time. And it's very reminiscent on how I broke the world records on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as I was playing them. Because I would literally just play versus Last Joe over and over and over again until I had the world record. So that's literally what there's people online that try to break all the world records for Nintendo World Championships, but it's super fun. Is like, so the end of the week, so I play it on Mondays. Every Monday I'll play all 3 of the modes. The World Championships, the silver and the gold. I beat the silver and the gold, and then I go into the World Championships and I try to grind down my times. What's cool though is like, so on Monday, today, because today is a Monday, we're recording, it should pop up and it'll tell you where you place in the world versus everyone. So it'll be like, all right, Mario 1-1, you had to speed run it. Here's your place. There was 30,000 people. You're 15,000. And there was 1 week where I sent you the picture. I posted it online. I think it was it Kid Icarus or Ice Climber or one of the games? No, Balloon Fight. Balloon Fight. Yeah. Yeah, there's 40,000 people and I got number 1 in the world. Now,
yeah!
I was like, yes, but I feel like it was such a finite thing that I just happened to max out the time to get the first balloon. And a lot of people probably did because there's a lot of people that tied my time. But either way, I was able to tie the time for the first in the world for once. Every week, though, there's usually 1 game where I'm like in the top 10%, and then the rest I'm in like 50%.
You know what you should do is like take that picture. You're good with Photoshop. You should pull a Todd Rogers and like say that you got a couple like milliseconds less than everyone else.
Oh yeah, like 1 millisecond less. Like haha.
Like Todd, that's not even possible, dude. Oh, I did it. Yeah.
So it's connecting right now. You should tell me. Oh look. The current challenges are up. So perfect example. So this week, right? So we're like in the first week of September. You have a Zelda one where you have to get the first sword. You just have to get the first sword. There's a Kirby one. There's a swimming Mario one that's hard. There is a balloon fight one now where you have to kill some guys, and then you have to defeat Ridley in Metroid as the master one. Those are all the NWCs. Now the results are in for the Nintendo World Championship. Shall we see? No, it's so the thing is, it's like the results are in. So you have the results in, you can check them, and then what it does is it connects to the internet, and then it shows you each one. So you can go through, and each one of these, it shows you like how you did versus everyone in the world. And it does it like in dramatic fashion where it'll go, and it'll like do a running total. And it's like very satisfying to watch. It's like, I think this last week though, I don't think I got S tier in because you had to beat the first Zelda Labyrinth. So you had to go through the first Zelda Labyrinth. I don't know if I got S tier in that one. So I probably did really bad. I've also noticed every week that there's like 40,000. First week there was like 80,000. Now last week I think there was 30,000 or less. So there's probably like 20,000 people that play it this week. So you're seeing the natural interest of people waning every week as the game gets older. But
did you play NES Remix on the 3DS or the Wii U?
I did. I loved it, and ironically, last weekend, we went to a place called Rad Retrocade in El Paso. And it's a big old retro arcade bar. It's called Rad. So I sent pictures to the guy who owns Rad Bar and see what he thought.
Yeah,
And they had themed like Pac-Man that had Rad Retrocade on it. They had coins that had Rad Retrocade on it. But they actually did a game swap, and the guy had a CIB copy of the actual Nintendo that game that we were talking about, the Ultimate Nintendo NES Remix. So I got a copy of it. I just bought a copy for $20.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
especially since they're playing NWC.
Yeah, I also loved it. Now, I still haven't played NWC this one. I'm probably going to keep my collector's edition sealed and then just find another like loose copy or used copy or something like that. I just feel like I want to keep that other one sealed with my like collection of competition carts from like, retro USB and stuff.
Yeah.
But there are two. Well, one I think is a missed opportunity, and two I think is an egregious oversight.
I got one too.
Yeah, I think the egregious oversight. Like, you're going to celebrate the Nintendo World Championship, and yet you're not going to put the ROM of the Nintendo World Championship on there and let people compete? What?
Yeah, I feel like that's a weird one. Like,
what?
If anything, they should just have the NWC on there, like the games. Like just that competition should be emulated in the Nintendo World Championships through it. Like
because,
not necessarily the ROM, but like put all 3 of those games and let us play.
Because I don't know what
the games are not on the collection though. Tetris and Rad Racer are not on this collection.
Fair enough, but I mean they don't have to put them on there. You know, the ROM is already there, right? So, it just bothers me because
they re-emulated it for this.
Yeah, it really bothers me because still the only official way to own the Nintendo World Championship and play it is to have a gray or a gold cart. That's
Which
it.
are not $28,000.
So Nintendo is encouraging you to freaking pirate and emulate and whatever, which they're against. What's with this gatekeeping, Nintendo? Like, what are you doing? I want an official copy of that too. It's ridiculous.
What is your other thing? Because I got one.
The other thing, and I think it was a missed opportunity, and actually I thought of it when you actually flashed your Switch forward, because I noticed that you have Zelda Joy-Cons.
Yes.
That would have been an amazing thing, opportunity to have NWC themed Joy-Cons for.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that the Japanese version of the NWC, they included just the Famicom Joy-Cons.
Famicom,
they weren't special. They were just. It would be cool to have the classic Nintendo World Championship controllers as Joy-Cons. So the third thing that is a major misstep is, and it goes back to playing a retro game challenge, Game Center CX. They should allow you, after you beat all the challenges, to play the damn game. So
to actually play through the game and not the challenges.
Because in Retro Game Challenge, you play the challenges, and then at the end, it's beat the game. You just have to beat the game in order to, win the entire retro, game challenge.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up because, I haven't played it. I didn't know that you couldn't do that, and I'm surprised that they don't do that. I would have been annoyed by that too.
Some of those games are arcadey, so like Donkey Kong or
it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not
play them forever, so you can't beat them. They should still unlock the game to be able to play, and not have to go to the actual Switch Online and play it in the different app. Like you should be able to do it in this game.
I totally agree. It's not like Nintendo had to reach out to someone and pay for a license.
Well, and Mario 1, the final master challenges beat the game. So you can play the whole game for Mario 1, but you can't do that for the others. I would love
to play. That's so odd. That is really odd.
I mean, you literally got all the games there. Just play them. Now, in the end, though, super fun to play. I really like it. It's a fun little bite size. I still have been procrastinating on purpose to not beat every challenge. I've unlocked them all. I've paid all the coins to unlock every challenge, but I think it's the master hard, extra hard, whatever they are challenges. I've purposely not done them all. The cool thing is though, is when you play them in NWC mode, and you get S tier, it actually works in the real challenge too. So when they put in a new challenge that I haven't beaten yet or mastered, it'll actually unlock in there. So that's cool. But yeah, I haven't beaten the whole game yet, gotten everything, just because I kind of wanted to take my time with it. And I will likely, since I forgot today was Monday, I will have to play a little bit. My goal was to mow the grass today, but it's been pouring rain, so I'm not mowing today. So it's freaking crazy, man. Yeah, dude. So yeah, NWC is awesome. So have you been playing anything? Because I got about 4 more to talk about.
There's only one game that I've primarily been playing, and it's premium edition related, and it's because I know that I'm gonna have to pretty soon here, as soon as Josh gives us the go, start writing a manual for it, and that's Scarlet Tower. My gosh, so fun. Oh my gosh, that's fun.
Yeah, Scarlet Tower is, basically based on the Survivor likes, Vampire Survivors, the genre Survivor likes. What I like is the comprehensive boss fights that they have. It's not just a giant enemy that comes, it's actually boss fights in the game, which I feel is way more fun. And they've added a lot of content. I haven't even played the new content updates. But
soundtrack is awesome. Like the controls are awesome. The level progression and the constant powering up is awesome. It's just really, really satisfying to play.
yeah,
And I mean, like some of the levels are grindy because like you have to survive like an entire cycle or whatever. And toward the end, you're just like, oh my gosh, like please let it end.
yeah.
But yeah,
And the cycles
it's
are
good.
what are they, like 20, 30 minutes, 30 minutes?
About 25, 26, 27. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So between 25 and 30.
That's about the standard for the first survivor. Like those a 30-minute run
Mm-hmm.
to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going hand in hand in that is a game that I found out about on an indie podcast. Have you heard of Hollow Cure?
No.
So there's some YouTube channel, Hollow something, where that's a bunch of YouTubers that review games or whatever. Well, Hollow Cure is a free Souls-like, and you can download it for free on Steam right now. It is a full Souls-like game. There are hundreds of characters to unlock. They're all anime based. The attacks are gigantic and huge. I played one run through yesterday, and it's freaking addicting, man. It's called Hollow Cure Save the Fans. Save the fans. And there's like a bunch, just like in Vampire Survivors, just like in Scarlet Tower, you can unlock tons and tons of different weapons and stuff. And there's also like a creation mode where you can go into your own house and build, like put little furniture in there from the coins that you earn. There's a fishing mode where you can fish and create stuff. But you don't just buy your permanent power-ups like you do in Vampire Survivors and you do in Scarlet Tower. You go in, plant seeds, and these seeds are used to grow crops, and then you take the crops to the guy to earn. So you have to like do like a little mini game like Stardew Valley.
Which I was gonna say, is this like cool. Harvest Moon or something?
Like Stardew Valley style.
Yeah.
It's all like pixelated art, and it's super cool. It is completely free, which I thought was neat. I was listening when I was running to a podcast like a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I need to download this game. It's completely free, and I played it, and it was really, really fucking fun, man. It was cool. Dude, it was right in alignment with Scarlet Tower, though. Yeah, dude, you're talking about that as like I got to do Carl's strategy guide.
Yeah.
Not manual, strategy guide.
Strategy guide.
But I'm going to do all my strategy guides that I'm going to create for premium. We're going to be in alignment with how we did the robot named Fight strategy guide, which is I'm not doing level by level all that shit. I'm going to do all the power-ups, all the stuff, all the characters, do little bios for the characters. I mean, we're working with the developers, so they're going to have the lore. And I'm going to make it a really fun read. And then we talk about the creation of the game from the developers and the creation of the physical from us. And that's how I'm going to do it. And there's another game I have to do a strategy guide on that we haven't announced yet. Secret game. That'll be in the fall. Secret game, people.
Well, before I forget, I have a huge gripe about InDesign. One of the limitations it has, like, like we build all of our books in InDesign, and there's such a basic function that is not easily done whenever you're like inserting text. There's no easy way to make text bold if you want. Like you can't just go Control B over it. You actually have to like highlight every little section or word that you want and then go over and like select the bold version of the font that you have. It's maddening. I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, what the hell? Adobe, come on.
Well, I mean, I think that you have to have the bold version too. So if you're using a font that doesn't have bold, you can't even bold. But I'm just saying you can't even. So that's a limitation.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, like, freaking Microsoft Paint does faux bold. Come on.
I mean, it's fun, right?
I don't know. I'm right now. I'm just an old man yelling at a cloud, so it's whatever. But I just had to get that off my chest.
Hey, if you remember who the cloud is in the premium direction back in the day, feel free to yell away.
No.
There was an ongoing joke that Barry the Cloud was in the. You're yelling at Barry the Cloud.
That's
In the
funny.
Premium Directs, he was like a little cloud that we used to have moving around.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Another game I've been playing, which I've been thoroughly addicted to, didn't even know I would be until I popped it in and tried it one time. Have you heard of Balatro?
No.
No. Yeah, it was funny because when I interviewed Xander, he hadn't heard of it either. There's been like 5 million downloads of this game.
Can
It
you
is one of
spell
the
that?
most popular freaking games on Steam. Balatro. It also was mentioned on the Nintendo Direct, by the way.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay.
Balatro. So
Yeah.
Balatro, I didn't think I'd be interested in it because it's a card game. Literally freaking poker. I was like, oh yeah, it's okay, whatever. It's just a poker game. It is maddeningly addictive. Like, you start playing the thing. So essentially you're playing poker, right? So you get your like full house, straight, whatever, and you get these blinds. So you have to meet like a certain amount of chips. You earn chips for making certain hands. So you earn like, it'd be like, all right, a straight is worth 30 points times 5, whatever, and every card gives you a multiplication, say, right? So you do that, and you get a score. You beat the overall score, you can move on to the next level, in each level. But where it gets crazy is then you go to the store, and in the store you can buy a Joker. The Joker does crazy shit, like. And you get all these Joker cards. You can put up to like 5 Joker cards that add all these multiplications, and the scores go insane. And it like this Joker
sounds like fun.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And then there's like these different other types of cards that add like multiplications and stuff to your actual card. So it'll take your like Queen of Hearts and it'll make it a multiplication. It'll make it steel or make it gold and give you more gold to buy more things. And like it's so ridiculous. And it's so analytical. It's so fun to play. It's like a very analytical game. It took me weeks of playing it to finally beat one full hand.
Yep.
Weeks of playing it. And in order to beat it, each ante, you have to beat 3 different blinds. So you have a small blind, big blind, and there's a boss blind. The boss blind disables something, like it'll disable all your clubs, or it'll make the third hand face down. And the bosses are stupid. You have to beat 8 of those to beat the round.
Who's that that Mario RPG boss? Boyer, the one that like disables
yeah,
like a button.
That's what those jerks do. And so it's extremely addictive. And then after you beat the 8th ante, you can continue to play forever. But at a certain point, you have to change the way you play. So to play to beat the game is one way. To play beyond is like, you have to do these crazy multiplications and shit that I haven't been able to master yet. So I've been still playing it on and off. After I finally beat the damn 8th level, I haven't played as much, but I was playing like every freaking night. I would finish writing papers and doing project shit. And then I'm like, all right, let me play some Balatro. And then I don't sleep. It was ridiculous, dude. But that game, man, I would recommend.
I see what you're doing. You're trying to make it download so I don't sleep.
Exactly. Up, you don't need to sleep, man. Sleeping's for the weak. The other 2 games that I played are interesting because, I mentioned that I put my Nintendo Switch here in the game room. Well, one day on a weekend, London came in and said, let's play Undertale. And I told her, I was like, well, I am at Metaton, which I didn't know how far that was in the game. I got stuck years ago, probably when I was in Texas, before I moved to Georgia. Georgia was before Hawaii. Georgia was when we started recording, years ago, podcasts and everything. So, and so she's like, yeah, but I want to play. So, and I was playing pacifist, which means you don't kill anyone. So I went through and her and I sat here all day. We were playing, ended up beating the game. And then I realized, we didn't actually get the true pacifist mode. However, if I had met all the criteria in the game, so there's certain stuff you have to do throughout the game, like certain parts of the story you have to do, you can actually do true pacifist mode on one run through. And so I happened to have done all those, and we were able to go back in after beating the game and go and do true pacifist mode and fight the final true boss of pacifist mode, which is really cool. So yeah, we went through all that. Now we have to play the whole game again and kill everything to do genocide. And then there's another boss.
Never beat that game. I did play the beginning of it, and I couldn't even tell you how far I got. But true ending, true pacifist, is that Flowey or is that the other ending?
So Flowey is the normal mode.
Okay.
You fight like a Photoshop Flowey where he's like crazy looking. True pacifist is you fight Azrael, which is Flowey. Flowey is Azrael. Okay. So that's the son of the two characters, Toriel and Azazoth or whatever his name is, that you fight at the end. But like, yeah, it's their son, and yeah, you continue to keep being friends the whole time. Yeah, everybody says that the hardest one to me was still Metatom, because I had like that was when you're playing, because when you're playing pacifist, you never level up. You're level 0 the whole time. So you basically, as you go through the game, it becomes more and more difficult to where you can't take any damage and you have to play perfect. So it's the very first time I played Undertale, like years ago when London was very tiny. Was I just played the game like an RPG. I killed stuff, I did all the things, and you realize that is a problem.
Like normal.
Yeah, and you realize that is a problem. It is like EXP is like extremely violent points or something. Like it was all like that. Like it was like level ups and all like it was all violence, levels of violence or something. Like it was like crazy. But yeah, I went through and I did completely true pacifist, and it was pretty fun to do. But yeah, like Undertale was fun as hell. And then after that, London was like, well, let's, she wanted me to get Pokemon Scarlet. She had gotten Pokemon Violet and a while ago. Didn't really like it. Only wanted to play Pokemon Sword and Shield. And she had Pokemon Shield as a kid. That was her nostalgia. She had gotten into it, all the new updates and everything. Everything is not janky anymore, by the way. And so I bought Pokemon Scarlet finally, and we played together. The interesting thing is that London somehow is like using websites or something to coordinate and get overpowered Pokemon in the game. I don't know how she does it, but she like, and then she was like trading me crazy Pokemon. Some of them you can't use because until you fight a gym leader in Pokemon, Pokemon over a certain level won't listen to you. But she traded me a bunch of crazy Pokemon and stuff that she had earned in her old game. And you can trade Pokemon between the other games. So she can take her Pokemon Shield Pokemon and put them in Scarlet and Violet and all that stuff. So that is the current thing, is whenever she asks me, I will play some video games with her because it's pretty cool and she wants to play some games. She had taken a break from Roblox for a long time while we were traveling, and she started playing all this stuff. The other thing that I did for her in the realm of Pokemon is I had now put the homebrew store on her 3DS XL. So the new 3DS XL, the one that I have, it's Zelda, ironically, is now her Pokemon 3DS XL. I had put all the stuff on it. I had gotten her every Pokemon all the way from Game Boy all the way to 3DS that fit on the card. So it's not every one, because some of the bigger ones, the newer ones, don't fit on a standard SD card. But right now she has like a Pokemon 3DS that has all the stuff. She can play, and I even put some of the hacks on there and stuff for her so she can have fun with it. And I think she got what we call paralysis of choice scope creep that hit her, and then she went back to Roblox last week conveniently right after this.
Choice paralysis.
I'm pretty sure she has enemy. Yeah. So, but I asked her yesterday, I'm like, hey, do you want to play Scarlet and Violet? And she did, and then we never did play it. So, unfortunately. But yeah, I've been playing all those little things since the last time, because I haven't recorded in a couple weeks, but it's fun. Playing a lot of stuff, but not anything too crazy. All right, so shall we move on to the next section?
What do you want to talk about next? Our pickups or project updates, or
I think talk me out of it, Tristan.
Okay.
And then we'll take a pause. We'll take a break.
All right.
Take a break because I got to go pee.
Talk me out of it.
Eventually. So the newest talk me out of it, Tristan. This is one that's dangerous for me,
Okay.
and I don't know if I should do it or not. This item, because the talk me out of it, Tristan, is always a console or something ridiculous that I would like to get, and Tristan has to talk me out of it. Sometimes he talks me into it.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like I want that too. You should totally
Yeah.
get it.
or like my wife enables me, like the Lenovo Legion Go, which I'm literally recording on now, so I use the shit out of it. So that was a worthy purchase. So the newest one is the Analog NES, Analog's Nintendo Entertainment System, and the metal one. Was it the NT Mini? I think it is, or whatever it is.
Yep.
Because the reason why I've been thinking about it is my AVS is in storage, so I won't have it for at least one to multiple years.
That takes care of my first question.
Yeah, because I have the clear AVS, the collector's edition, but I don't have it with me. I have, a dozen or so or more NES homebrew that I can't play right now because I have the cartridges, but I can't play them because I have no NES here with me currently. All my Nintendo, my Sharp NES TV, everything. I have an Analog Pocket, and of course I have the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, and the Turbo Duo. My Genesis and Super Nintendo are in storage with the AVS, by the way. I don't have them with me. But I have the Analog Pocket with me, and I have the Analog Duo, which is still sealed, by the way. I haven't even opened it to play any of the homebrew that I have for Turbo PC. So I'm just setting the stage for you, Tristan.
Yep.
So I had seen, I think it was on the newest Retro Liberty episode, NES Pursuit, because they are going and collecting the NES games again, in a unique, weird way too, by the way. But they are actually one of the later episodes. They had talked about the Analog NT and how that is one of the better ways to play it, which I am like hand in hand with AVS and analogs as which is better. I haven't really played a lot of the Analog NES though. So, and I don't want the wood grain one, by the way, the original one. Even unless I have an opportunity to buy one, I would. But I feel like the NT is more reasonable. I don't know. So, go.
So, Analog, for those of you who are not familiar, I'll just give you a quick little backstory. They started as a company that made consoleized Neo Geo MVS consoles. Made out of custom wood. You could get wood. Brazilian tiger wood or something like that. And I mean, it was a very limited item, very expensive. But then they started making. They actually made and machined their own NES shell, and it's an FPGA console. So there's a slot for the Famicom. There's a slot for the NES. There was actually a Analog NT, which is a full-size one, and I think that one was limited to about 500 units.
That one was wood, right?
No, it was actually aluminum also. There was never
there was never. Yeah, I was getting my wires crossed with the Neo Geo.
Yeah, the Neo Geo was wood. That's the only wood thing they've ever made.
See, so my wires were even crossed on that. Okay, cool. So there's a limited one. How's the limited one?
Well, that was their original one, and then they shrunk down the form factor a little bit, and that's the NT Mini that was available most recently. I'll say it's been out of stock for a very long time.
Yes.
So the first con that I would say to you is that you're going to be paying eBay prices unless you know someone personally who has one for sale.
Yeah.
But you do have a few options.
The guy who's on Retro Liberty's video, I do know him. I don't think because those videos come out months after they record them. I don't think he has any left because he had 2 or 3. I think they're still over $500 though aftermarket.
Yeah, so at retail it was $500. So now you're going to pay an exorbitant amount. Yeah, at least 8, probably 9.
And I don't really want to pay that, by the way.
No, yeah. I mean, it's like a really nice machined piece of aluminum. So it's a really nice piece of tech. And they actually made a few different special editions. So depending on how crazy you want to go, if you're a millionaire and live in the United Arab Emirates or something, and you got like unlimited funds, then I would say go after one of 10 24 karat gold plated NT minis. But then you could also go a little bit cheaper for about $5,000 and get the limited edition Famicom Maroon console that was limited to 50 units. Or if you want to be special but not break the bank, you're going to pay about $1,200 to $1,500 for a analog NT Mini Noir, which is black metal. So yeah, you got some options, but it's all pricey. It's a very much because like the AVS exists. We both have one. You said yours is in storage. The AVS is the practical way to go when you're going FPGA NES.
Well, and I already have the limited collector's edition because I got it at launch, so I won't break the bank on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so even though both of us have AVSs, we both have that clear one. So we got those cool kid points already.
But the sad thing is that I was in the community and very aware when the NT Mini was coming out, and I could have got it at retail. I just didn't because I had the AVS.
So Analog, I'm not sure where they're based out of. I think they are in the United States, but I just don't know where.
Yeah.
There's no telling like what their print run for any of this stuff is, because until the Analog Pocket, they really didn't mass produce this stuff. They have one for the Sega Genesis and the Mega Drive. They have one for the Super Nintendo and the Super Famicom. They have the NES. They have the Neo Geo stuff that they made originally.
The Duo.
Yeah, and the Duo. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about the Duo. So like all of these are very much like items that you can pay a whole lot less to play the stuff that you want to play on these analog like systems, but these are for modern consoles and for the very distinguished gamer, I would say.
Well, and my thing is that I feel like as a company, we watched them grow. That's where I think the Pocket was the turning point. So they were a niche company.
Yeah, that's the mass production.
Because they were like custom making wood stuff, right? Then they got their shell done, and they probably ordered a certain amount of those shells, honestly. And then they got them, professionally done with the black and the maroon and all that stuff to do only a few copies. And then you saw with the plasticking for Super Nintendo, Genesis, and all that stuff to where they started to do those shells, and they grew, and that becomes a little more affordable. I think they had so many orders for the Pocket that they were able to finally turn the corner as a bigger company. So they've like leveled up to the point now. So if they did their next console, I think it's N64, they're going to do something like that. It'll be, again,
they're working on it.
It'll be mass produced, like their next one. It will be. Just because they're a bigger company now. As normal growth. And so if they ever go back and do a Nintendo again, it'll be mass produced. But now,
but it'll probably be a different shell, just so that, or like a plastic shell, maybe not even aluminum or whatever. Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
I would be okay with a plastic shell one, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
I just was looking for something to play now, and I don't want to get another AVS since I already have one. So I might just get another AVS and get a standard edition. Oh my.
Yeah, and one thing that they did with the Pocket that I laud them for, it hasn't been done on the scale since the Nintendo 64, is they came out with the black and white standard ones, and then they came out with all these like fantastic colors, and then even more colors, and then they actually came out with a glow-in-the-dark one, which is actually the first ever video game console that is in a glow-in-the-dark shell. That's the only one.
That's cool. And you have it?
No, I don't have it. I have an orange one. Damn. And I don't know if you actually, if you missed this or not, if you saw this, but this was actually during our hiatus, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Analog put out an aluminum version, a metal version of their Pocket.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the retail price for the plastic ones is $200.
Nice.
The Pocket, the metal one, is $500.
I'm okay.
So yeah, that is that's a very distinguished gamer piece.
Well, and I will say one other thing, and why I'm probably going to wait on the analog NES unless I find somebody that has one. If I find a buddy that has one to sell, I'll buy it. But I'm not going to buy it online on Scalpers. But
no, I wouldn't recommend it.
One other thing that I didn't like, and this goes hand in hand with that other console I got, the other PC Engine that I got from the it's from the company that PCE Works.
Oh, PCE Works, you got that thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
that
okay.
one and my Sega Genesis both had a power surge. So my analog SG or whatever it is, the one. So neither of those boot up. And I had contacted though back in the I haven't contacted PCA Works, but Analog I had contacted them and they said I had to essentially pay them to fix it.
What
Like they wouldn't like reflash the hardware or whatever it is if I send it to them.
Ridiculous.
They literally said that I would have to send it to them and almost pay a full price of a whole new console to fix my analog. So maybe when I get back and get my collection back, I contact them again and maybe they'll have better customer service. But their customer service wasn't that great regarding that. Because like I was like, hey, I had it plugged in. I had a lightning storm and now my Sega Genesis does not boot up anymore. And I had the limited edition clear one that had like a music cart with it, and I think it had a ROM on it too of a game. There was a game on it too. So like I just wanted, the version that I had, the same thing, just like I would send them it and just make it factory again. And they said that they couldn't help me basically without me paying like hundreds of dollars. And I was like, they rubbed me the wrong way.
So the PCE Works, that console's called the Mega Engine.
Yeah. And essentially it is like basically a Raspberry Pi almost with a CD-ROM thing in it.
Yeah, I've actually, there's one for sale at like one of my local video game stores. It's sitting there for $350 or something, but I have no desire.
I just need to send it back to him so he can reflash it because it's just janky. If like I put in the one game, I tried it out, it played fine. I put in a second game and it froze, and then I just rebooted it and it just never came back on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like it wasn't great. So I'd say it's about time for us to take a quick break and we will be back to talk about projects.
There you go.
Okay, so should we talk about what we've gotten in now?
Yeah, definitely.
Some pickups. So
yep.
I only got in
pickups and project updates.
Yeah. And I only got in one thing that I'm going to talk about, Tristan.
Okay.
So it's an interesting one. My wife is now trying to finally wake up my daughter at 2 p.m., by the way.
That's funny.
I can hear like my wife was taking a nap when I went out there too. So this is the only thing that I got in, Tristan.
What's that?
From a certain you.
Dude, that's crazy too, because like I just checked tracking. It still shows it at the El Paso post office. So I wasn't sure if you got it or not.
Yeah, it showed up like a couple days or last week, I think. And I was like, I'm going to wait to open it up for when we're on the episode. So I haven't looked in here.
Excellent. Yeah, this is cool.
So let's see the treats that Mr. Ibarra sent me. And I already see one on the top. That's a classic. I got Mario.
That's the real Mario, ladies and gentlemen. The real Mario.
Captain Lou Albano from the
Damn
Legends.
Straight.
Yes, this is the Legends one for those that are listening on the podcast. We got the Captain Lou Albano WWE Legends figure.
Yep.
Pretty cool. The original Mario. Let's see how we got other treats in here too. Classics. So we got a copy of Dolphin Blue for the Atomic Wave.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my releases. I wasn't sure if I had given that to you before or not. So yeah, I had that disc left over. It works on your Dreamcast just natively.
Nice. Yeah, like I don't have a whole lot of those treats from Tristan. I think all I got from you was like some manuals that you sent me in Hawaii for Castlevania. I got some of your Game Center stuff, and I mean obviously the project stuff.
Yeah, I've stopped making that stuff, so I just keep coming across like leftovers or whatever.
So this one is a Sunday Fun Day treat.
Yeah,
It's like
new old stock.
unfolded new old stock. Interesting story is that Pico Interactive is the one who has the intellectual property for all the
Did they?
Wisdom Tree
Okay,
and
yeah, I'm not
Color
going to go any
Dreams.
further, but yeah, we've been talking to Pico.
And the interesting thing about him is that I have a new old stock Hellraiser from him.
Cool.
For labels. He just had a roll of the labels. He's like, hey, you want one? He cut me off one and gave me one of the new old stock labels from
Nice.
Hellraiser. That was back when I was a drill sergeant in like 2017, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago. Oh, heck yeah. Double Dragon. The promo of Double Dragon, right?
An actual ad that I cut out of a magazine at some point.
Nice. Like killing people. And then there's a PT behind it that you printed.
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. I'm gonna have to get the Double Dragon frame though, because that was the classic world record one that I used to do with Kyle. It's freaking awesome. Man, lots of treats in here, Tristan. Holy crap. What is this? This is like Sega coins and Mario trading cards and stuff?
Yeah.
Would this come in like a little the crane machine or something?
No. I've actually just got those bags. Like,
oh, because it's like sealed. I don't even want to open it.
No. You just pop it open. It's just Ziploc.
Oh, okay. It's like sealed, man. I don't want to open it.
No, it's not sealed.
Oh, what is this card behind it? It's like a little like cardboard card in here.
Open it up. I can't remember, honestly.
It's like the cardboard card right there. That's
yeah. Check that out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, some dope stuff.
It's something originally
Mario?
from like the 80s and Mario. Mm-hmm.
It's like a Mario trading card or something. That's super cool.
Yeah,
Love
it was part of some like board game, I think.
Nice. You got a copy of Game Boy Advance video WTF 420. Mm-hmm. What is this?
So that is that limited print thing that I told you about. I think he made 20 copies.
Yeah.
He did a short film. So there's a store here in Omaha called Pop Culture Exchange, and it's run by this guy named Candy. Candy is a very eccentric person who loves horror stuff and like just eccentric stuff. But he and his friends made some short film a long time ago. He actually digitized it and put it on a Game Boy Advance cartridge, and he only made 20 of them. So that's one of them.
WTF, Tristan. WTF.
Yeah, what the fuck, 420.
And it's definitely signed by the creator and number 10 of 20. That is cool. Yep. Little treats, man. A VTech tri-screen Time and Fun Deputy Den, which is like looks like a little Game & Watch.
So that there's actually a story behind that. I was at I think it was Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and I was like behind Pat Contry at a table. And he was looking at that. And he put it down, and he's like, "Oh, I might come back for that later." And just out of spite, I bought it.
So you give it to me.
That's a spite buy. That's something Pat wanted. Now you have.
I'm gonna hold this hostage. Deputy Den. Like it just sounds like my daughter. Her nickname for her was Den Den, so it's like hilarious.
Funny.
So it looks like we got some treats, a bag of treats. There's a
bunch of stickers.
Stickers and cards. There's a little one of
the stickers in there might be what I'm thinking of. So you may actually want to like open that up and take a look at
this one. I'll actually open. I didn't open the others. Because there's the Castlemania Games sticker, which I have like a million of these for any time. There is Railway for the Cougar Boy.
Yeah.
The hell?
that box art though.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I'm gonna put that in the front. You got a limited run games card for Dangun Favor.
Yeah.
Random. Then there's Ben's Game Zone.
Yep.
And then of course Reno cards.
Okay.
So no stickers in this one.
Okay, well, yeah, all right. The stickers are elsewhere then.
They might have been in with the Oh no, they're not in there. And then we got Action Force 2.
So Action Force is what they call G.I. Joe over in the UK.
Yeah.
And that's for the Spectrum.
This is for the ZX Spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a cassette tape game. So the ZX Spectrum loaded off of cassette tapes. Mm-hmm. And you had to like literally load and play. It like goes zzz and loads the game data off of audio, which is so wild.
Yeah, that's really weird.
What I like though is like the artwork on this thing is like ridiculous.
It's so bad.
And then like the drawings on the inside are like pencil drawings, like little art with like so cool. I love the stuff that they did back in the day. I also like that this is like not quite a cassette tape. It's like bigger than a cassette tape, like cassette tape fold too for the ZX Spectrum. I don't actually have any ZX Spectrum games.
Well, so now you do.
That's classics right there. And then a soundtrack of Demon's Crest.
That was actually a promo copy of that.
Promo copy? From who? Mm-hmm. From you?
I don't remember where I got it, to be honest. All I know is that was like a pre-release copy from before they did the run of them.
Well, that is dope because like if I actually put any Demon's Crest games, I can put this with it, like on the shelf or whatever. That's like the classic Kyle staff. Looks like I got some classic Tristan Ibarra made Resident Evil 1.5s.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So Magic Zombie Door build for Resident Evil 1.5.
Yep.
Crazy Tristan. Love it. Yeah, I could tell that it's the Tristan style though, because I was like, you love doing the custom manuals. That's awesome. So got more treats. What is this? What would who do?
Tristan.
What would Tristan do?
I forgot I put that in there.
There we go.
Such an absurd joke.
I mean, I think we definitely had this joke going on too. Saint Tristan of Ibarra. I think I might have been a perpetuator of it.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so we got another fun little package of your Police Knots release. It looks like there's some kind of a pink CD fold.
Yeah, so that's the mold that I actually custom made so that you can actually like hold CDs and put them in a Sega Saturn or Sega CD case.
Oh, that's neat.
Those are the ones that were made for like Panzer Dragoon Saga. Or multiple disc games. I reverse engineered it, and yeah.
So you sent me a retro USB card, but did you actually read the retro USB card?
Maybe not. I don't know.
So the name on it is Jason Santrowski, but did you read what his position is?
No.
He's the CEO, the Chief Emailing Officer.
Nope, never saw that.
Yeah, but like
That's
the CEO is the chief executive officer who runs the company. The chief emailing
officer. That's
funny. I get it, making up a position, but like, I got the shoot 'em up undergraduate degree registration form for Neo NES. That's hilarious. And then you got like the bullet hell class in session shoot 'em up syllabus.
Yeah.
It's a crazy Tristan stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Before this was pre-premium. Whenever I had oodles of extra time on my hands.
Oh yeah, we got so much extra time now. Yeah, and of course Police Knots, which is dope. It's dope. Yeah, that's cool stuff. Let's see. There's still more, by the way. Tristan sent me a ton of shit, people. Like this is insane.
Yep. I don't always send Jeff packages, but when I do, I stuff them full.
They're full of NOS.
That's a sticker, by the way.
It's a giant NOS sticker. Yes. And then there's these other stickers like Rippets and NOS.
Yeah, it's the Rip-It one was the one that I was excited to give you.
Yeah, exactly. Rippets and monsters. And of course all the Tristan treats, the little foils. But yeah, Rip-It was the classic deployment fuel back in the day. Yep. Oh, and then we got the actual story from earlier that you talked about, which is Bowser making his debut. You got the Bowser stickers. Right. which is awesome. Yeah, it's cool, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for sending all this stuff. This is wild. This is wild. This is like crazy stuff. I'm gonna have to like find little places for it and put it all over the house. And Andrew will be finding little treats everywhere. And just remember, everyone, what would Tristan do?
Yeah, what would Tristan do? Just ask yourself.
And
then when you determine that what that was that I would do the opposite.
Oh, St. Tristan of Ibarra, what would you do?
So I mean, the story behind that. Obviously, I'm not that like freaking self-important or whatever, but it's a running joke in my family. Like I love being a troll in my family. I've got an older brother, 2 younger sisters, and I'm always like telling my parents how I'm like the favorite child and the best child, and like, why did you even like have 2 kids after me? Because you got it perfect on the second try, and like, stuff like that. So I made the "What Would Tristan Do" bracelets and sent them to my siblings.
Now, did you make it before or after MGC last year?
It was after. Oh yeah, this was like around the same time I went to California a couple months ago.
Because like at MGC we were calling you St. Tristan of Ibarra.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
That was such a classic though. That's funny as hell.
Did you have any other pickups?
No, that was it. Like I just got your cool stuff. I mean, I've bought stuff. Like we talked, I got Ultimate, NES and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
So I only got one thing that is of significance, I guess you would say. Which one did I open? I don't want to open the unopened one. Okay, here we go. So our friends at Rose Colored Gaming recently finished up a project that he said he had been working on for the better part of 10 years.
Damn.
And he finally released them. I know that 2 of the 3 versions are still on his website. If you guys want to go and check it out, it's rosecoloredgaming.com. But basically, like, he used to make like custom games and custom controllers. He still makes display stands and like like protective stuff for your games. But what he did and what he had been working on for all this time is custom wireless Super Nintendo controllers, which I picked up 2 of them from him.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's got 8-bit dough guts. And then, obviously this is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it comes with a display stand as well, if I can open this. Oh, gosh. Come on. Sorry.
And that's the opening noise.
My gosh, dude. This is like... Okay, here we go.
Classics.
Oh, it's got film over it. But anyway, yeah. It's like this shiny display that you can, like, put the controller on to like.
Are they still available or were they limited?
They were very limited. This rainbow one that I picked up, this is the only one that's sold out. He has a gunmetal gray one and one that's Famicom colors.
Ooh,
like gold and maroon.
Yeah, I definitely want to get a copy of one.
And they're $100 a piece.
Yeah, I might get the Famicom ones. That's pretty cool.
Because once they're gone, he's not making any more of them.
Yeah, shoot the link, please.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing is, though, is I did get some, like Switch games because they had, what came out? The Doink Soft collection came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Pigeon Dev Games collection, the Doink Soft collection. That was Gato Roboto. I wanted Gumbrella, which Gumbrella is a badass game. Yeah, that's what and then I think Demon Throttle was on there. So I picked up that at GameStop or whatever. But the interesting thing was, and this is where it was very interesting, is that I went there too because I wanted to get the Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, the remake of Shadow of the Ninja. That another game I wasn't tracking was coming out. They remade Shadow of the Ninja from the NES in 16-bit.
Yeah,
which is freaking awesome. 16-bit Shadow of the Ninja.
That's cool.
Apparently, it was released by Strictly Limited. They did not send it to anyone on the release date. So talking to the managers at GameStop, they're like, yeah, we don't have any copies and we didn't get any in, and there was no notification. Weird. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, they're kind of like, in the same realm as Premium Edition. And I'm like, yeah, they may have just had delays. I don't know. But Yeah.
Who knows?
I thought that was very interesting because the game is absolutely out. You can play it right now, but the physical did not come out in stores like it was supposed to, which I always think is interesting.
So what's the latest with your projects there, Jeff?
Oh goodness, million freaking projects, dude! Like it is wild. Let me scroll this down so I don't miss anything. So let's talk about Metroidvania Chronicles. So Metroidvania Chronicles is fully shipped out now. I think that there is a couple of international books sitting behind me next to the meat. Right, the meat is covering them. But that was another classic Tristan. But the slipcases, I decided to handle myself. Over the last couple projects, my warehouse has shown that they're unable to carefully ship stuff when it comes to a collector's edition. The books themselves generally are good because the books come sealed and everything, and they're pretty well protected. No issues with books. But when it comes to a slipcase, especially if I'm limiting the items, I've had to send out 1-2 different replacements for the NES ones, and it's kind of frustrating because it's like I don't have a whole lot of those, and now
very frustrating.
And they show up damaged. Like literally, people send me the pictures; they're damaged. It's not the customer's fault. It's somewhat the postal service's fault, but also it's like they need to just put some damn bubble wrap on the stuff. And it's not hard. So for the Metroidvania Chronicles, I decided to wrap them all up myself. And I just went to Uline, got an Indestructo box, and you just put a bubble wrap packaging. You just put it in the bubble wrap. I actually customized the bubble wrapping. I just tore it and taped it shut. Like that's all I did. It took 2 seconds. But the slipcases may eventually go on the website. But the thing is that I did include it in Volume 2 of the Metroidvania Cross Phase 2. So I got to make sure I have quantities. So I have to check the quantities and make sure. But there might be a couple up on the website in the future. Right now, they're not up on the website. The book only is, and they'll ship. And of course, we're still waiting on confirmation to get all the Switch Collector books combined with Tristan's books to the warehouse because Josh is supposed to have shipped those since January.
He even reached out to me over a month ago. He's like, "Hey, so where do you want these?" I'm like, "Yeah, just send them to where Jeff told you." And apparently that hasn't happened yet.
No. And I told him, I was like, because the thing is how it works with an actual warehouse is that they have to give us a bill of lading. So you have to give me the dims and weights and everything. But I need a bill of lading so that way I can give him the sticker he needs to put on the pallet so they know it goes to me because it's a warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. So they know exactly who it belongs to and where it goes. And
because if it ships and it has my name on it or Hagens Alley Books, they might be able to figure it out. But until I hit them up and contact them, they're not going to know. But if I know ahead of time with the dims and weights, I can literally do quantities. I can put it on the website and say, this stock is coming. And then it shows up with the label, and then they just put it into my section of the warehouse, and then we can immediately put them up for sale on the website. So everybody anticipate getting those books soon on the website so that way you could start combo shipping. So that should be pretty exciting because then you can get one of Tristan's books and the Switch Collector books and the NES book all together. The thing is, at the same time, he took so long that the warehouse changed. Now they're not in the same location. They moved locations. So Josh had to ship it to a different location. So I hope he shipped it to the right location or when he does, because it needs to.
Or hopefully there's forwarding if not.
Exactly. So phase 2, though, I had some interesting things. So during the hiatus, the couple months when I was moving, I had some people give comments, leave criticism on the way that I wrote in the book. And, I wrote in a very generalized term. So when I'm talking Super Metroid or Symphony of the Night, I didn't assume that people would know what it is. Because if you read the book 20 years down the line, they may or may not have access to the same resources that we do right now. So I kind of kept it very general. He didn't write it too nicely, but I still took it all and tried to figure it out. Now, this is where the rabbit hole goes a little crazy. Is that being here at the Star Major Academy, having to write, I started using Grammarly. And so I put some of the reviews in Grammarly, and oh my goodness, I need to work on my concise writing style a little bit. So he's not wrong. However, so I decided I am doing some full editing and rewriting of volume 2. So I'm rewriting all of the, I'm almost done, by the way, with the whole book at this point, but I'm using Grammarly to help assist to make it a little easier to read, a little more personable. Because the one thing he said was, is it all seems very general, but like I kind of formulaically broke down every game. So I'm going to talk graphics, I'm going to talk gameplay. I'm like doing that throughout my review without putting bullets. Yeah. Like I just literally wrote about it all. So sometimes I'm like repeating a sentence or so, but that's by design. So now I've went through, I've also wrote a little bit more in volume 2 now. So I actually shrunk the title from the font from 13 to 12 font. And there's a little more details on it. So right now it's going to go to print this month, which means that it should ship before the holidays. I just have to add in, I got in the backer reviews, the backer submissions, including the one from the Metroidvania Guru. So I got to like add that to the layouts and I'm done. So should be cool. I already edited all the backer ones. And then I'm not going to edit the Metroidvania ones. He wrote he said he was like trolling trolls from his from his channel or something on it. So it's very casually written. So I can't like use Grammarly because it wants me to do it formally. Yeah. So that one's a fun one though. But it should be in print before the end of the year. I have decided though, Tristan, that I am going to pause the Metroidvania Chronicles after phase 2 for a little bit. One of the other comments from people is that they are not disappointed, but they are worried that if I keep releasing books like this, that they're not going to be able to afford to keep up because I'm doing high quality. So if you want to get the collector's edition for each one, that's pretty expensive. Yeah. And this is a reoccurring magazine style series. It's not now. Now it's a book series. You know what I mean? So I'll probably keep going with volume 3, phase 3, but I'll wait till probably next year and it'll probably be like twice as big. I'll probably make it really big. The other thing that I realized is I'm probably going to, in the future, eliminate the upcoming games unless it's a really long-term game, because by the time I release the book, those games are already released. So like there was a couple games, I think Prince of Persia was one that I wrote as an upcoming game and it was out by the time the book shipped. So I think I'm going to do it more as a historical piece. I added new sections of on 2 anyway, so there's plenty of opportunities out there, especially when I'm talking afterlife is what they call it, aftermarket homebrew stuff. When I'm talking retro, I'm talking budget, I'm talking all the different types. So I feel like we'll be okay doing volume 3, but volume 3 will be a bit bigger, but same size. I mean, more pages.
Same form factor,
yeah, but more pages, so it'll be a little thick boy. For
that would suck. You do a small book, big book, small book.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But,
that would be OCD, like break some people's brains.
Yeah. So, and then the other project that I have that isn't in the upcoming stuff is the Complete Genesis. And so I've been working on the Complete Genesis since 2017. And the Complete Genesis is going up to Backer Kit's Booktopia in 2 days, actually, on the 4th of September, 2024. Excellent. So right after the recording of this, we get this up. It's going to go live on Backer Kit. I was invited to Booktopia. I wasn't planning on doing a Kickstarter this soon because I'm working on getting phase 2 done of the Metroidvania Chronicles, but opportunities showed up. So I'm like partnering, because you have to find a partner for Booktopia. I'm partnering with like a cosplay book or something, because I mean there's gamers who do cosplay at conventions. Cool. So that works. We're going to do like, if they back both of our projects, we'll do exclusive bookmarks. We'll give them we each get a bookmark for each of ours. I'm also offering some cool stuff if they back it early and back it whatever. Like I'm going to have a coin. I'm going to get a coin minted. And I'm also going to do a patch. So a Hagens Alley patch, which I've never done.
Excellent.
So yeah, so I have some cool opportunities. So when I launch it, be sure to check out the page and check out all the goodies that I have on there. Because I did some unique stuff for Booktopia for the Backer Kit one. And this isn't on Kickstarter. This is on Backer Kit. So you actually order it on Backer Kit. Now, the one thing that's very interesting, which I had to have them educate me, is on Backer Kit, you don't put shipping on it until after. So, like, you know, when you do a Kickstarter project, you have to calculate your shipping. And then the people who back it, they back the book, and the shipping is in that. And that goes into your total, which is always interesting because then your total goes faster. Well, this one, they're going to do the shipping afterwards. So I had to make sure multiple times in my campaign, I put shipping is calculated after, because I wanted people to make sure that they understood that, you know, to be calculated by Backer Kit afterward in order to ship it to their location of choice. Because there's some places, man, and you're going to know this with your 27-pound freaking monstrosities, is that it is going to be expensive to ship to Abu Dhabi.
Even to the UK, those 4 books, $140.
Yes. There is no such thing as media mail shipping internationally. Media mail only exists in the US. So, yeah, I think UK and Australia are the 2 most expensive. But, yeah, and points of those books, you can pull up one. That is the other part of project news right now is Tristan's advanced copies arrived.
Huge. Yep. So I guess I'll just grab this one. This is the biggest one of them.
I got some over here too.
Volume 2, S through Z. This is 708 pages. This is the biggest of the 4, but altogether, 2,408 pages. It weighs just under 26 pounds. All 4 of these books, but my gosh, the quality is so nice. Like satin finish. This feels nice. You got that sweet hologram on the Hagens Alley.
The soft touch.
Yeah, just vibrant colors inside. It's just so nice.
And yeah, so the advanced copies showed up. The main print run of those is shipping right now. I think like half is going to you to fulfill, and then the rest will go to the warehouse. And then the complex portion was that they shipped us the slipcase, and the slipcase had fallen apart during shipping.
Oh, that was a total POS.
Yeah, so there's going to be a delay. You've already announced it to the backers.
Yeah,
there's a delay. They have given me now. I mean, at first I was getting a bunch of like kickback because they were like, "Oh, well, you know, we're not a furniture
company." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I just need a box, dude. Wooden box. So now they've since started to play ball with us, and they gave me a couple options and all that. And they were talking about leaving space and all that. And I'm like, well, as long as you have foam in the space, I don't care. And then all those slipcases are now being manufactured. They're going to give us a sample again and make sure that it's good. But it's significantly thicker now. They put it on like little thin particle board, and it fell apart. And I think they just put it together by paper, so they didn't actually do any type of locking mechanism or anything. Because you can literally
it was just paper that was keeping it together, and like
it just
any sort of jostling, especially in the mail, is gonna just completely tear that stuff apart, which happened. So it was not surprising.
Now, my copy that they sent me, because I got the one that was pre-damaged. Yours damaged in shipping to get to you.
Yeah.
I was able to fix the pre-damage, and it looks pretty good after I put some glue on it and stuff.
Yeah, I still need to do the same for mine. It's salvageable, but it's definitely not like what.
Not something you're going to send to a customer.
No,
not going to send that to a customer. But
no. Hey, sorry guys, you're just gonna have to glue it back together by yourself.
Little dab will do you. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that being said, I think they're all going to ship over because you're going to handle all the collector's editions in-house, which I don't blame you at all. But this is the link that we have to go to make sure that everything is of a good quality, because it's like, as soon as they did that, I'm like, oh, let me handle this. And I just started going back and forth.
You were mentioning about like handling it yourself because you don't trust other people with the slip covers. I'm of the same mind, and I'm going to be handling the collector's edition slipcase versions myself. I actually went to the lengths of I got those like plastic like corner caps.
Yeah.
So yeah, they will not get damaged in
Well, and
shipping.
I'll tell you, like, based on the weight, it's probably a good idea to get the corner caps.
Yeah.
If it's a smaller book, it'll be fine. I had zero of all the slipcases I sent out. Zero got damaged because I just used bubble wrap on the corners. Like it was the little bubble wrap things. Like all the corners are protected inside of an Indestructo box. Not a single one got damaged.
Awesome.
And the other piece is because I'm shipping them out from here, which you'll do the same, is you can put goodies in there. So like promotional items.
Exactly.
Like I put a business card in there. So it's a lot smarter.
Sure,
you
man.
can do that from the warehouse too, but then they charge you per insert. So it's like, do we do that at the warehouse? Probably not. So but yeah, I think your books turned out amazing. Like
they're incredible, and I'm still going through them and like making little notes, like stuff that I wish I would have caught before, but you just can't catch everything. 2,400 pages, so it's whatever.
I remember like I did a walkthrough and I provided a bunch of feedback too.
Yeah, and it was, oh my gosh, dude, you found something like crazy egregious. Like one of my pages for my NES checklist was out of order. I'm so glad you found that because I would have been like upset with myself.
Well, and you'll always find stuff afterward, but like I tried to find as much. So I assumed that if I would have done a second pass, I would have found a few more items. And the more you do, the more you find.
But so what I'm going to do with this, and this is something that like is kind of a trickle over from like my experience engineering and delivering systems in the Air Force. Anytime you would like deliver like new software or hardware, you would have accompanying release notes. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to make a booklet of release notes to like send with my books so that people know like, hey, this is blurry. Hey, I noticed this is wrong. This is missing. This is, whatever. That way, like this plus those release notes, and you've got yourself a complete package. Yeah. Yeah. And on top of that, as a like exclusive for my backers or anyone who personally gets it from me, like at a game store like Ben's Game Zone, or at a convention that I'm at, or whatever, a trade show, I made a special 1-page checklist for the original Magnavox Odyssey. And I'm actually going to be reaching out to Ralph Baer's son to see if he would sign them for me.
Nice.
For all those backers and everything.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you were mentioning custom coins. I actually made this one for my console book, and that's a logo that I made for the original Odyssey. So
exactly.
Shout out to Ralph Baer. We owe everything to him.
The Godfather.
Father of video games.
Yeah, and I know you have a couple of book projects you're working on, which you're not going to announce yet, which is cool. Still cool.
Yeah. Both have never been done before, and I don't want someone to beat me to the punch. So one of them I hope to kickstart by the end of this year. That's my plan. The other one early next year sometime.
Well,
and they're smaller scale. It's not like this.
Yeah.
So
my ones that I have coming out that I'm working on now, because the Genesis book's done, the Switch or the Metroidvania Chronicles Volume 2 is done, but I am finishing still Switch Year 3. It's taken years, so it's just because I reformatted it, I created a big backlog. It would have already been done, but I decided to add taglines so there's at least a little bit about the games. Because it was abridged, there was nothing about the games. So I wanted a little bit about the games. So now it looks good, and I am working on it. It's like the last one. So once I finish everything else, then I'll start working on it. And then I have 2 books that I already researched. I'm conceptualizing and formatting. So I think we talked about it, but it might've been during the lull. Is after the complete Genesis, we are doing the complete TurboGrafx 16 and
Hell
PC.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
So I have been working on getting the layouts because it'll probably be a little different between Turbo 16 and CD, and depending on, because I feel like the form factor on the packaging is a little different. So I want to make sure that it flows well. I will be writing smaller reviews on each one like I did. And I did write smaller reviews on every Genesis game. I didn't make it abridged. So this complete Genesis is written. But I am working on that. And then the other book that I've been working on, this is the crazy one that you're not tracking with a surprise. You're tracking the book, but you're not tracking the surprise. So I am doing a sequel to Hidden Gaming Gems. It's called Indie Gaming Gems.
Excellent.
And because, so this is the weird thing. So it started that I was getting and finding really cool cream of the crop indie games that we could potentially sign for premium. When my backlog became over 1,000 games, there was way more than like Barry and our team could reach out to or any of that stuff. That I was like, so I started I have all these lists and I was like, all right, I'm going to create this book on it. The thing that's crazy, and this came from my talk with Xander, the interview with Xander Scullion a couple of weeks ago, is that he's not tracking. Hardly anybody's tracking these games. Nobody knows because there's so many games that come out on Steam and on Switch all the time that nobody is tracking a lot of these games. And some of them are going under the radar and nobody will ever know about them. So
yeah, so Jeff, I got to get this out, dude. This is what makes me so happy about like what we do at Hagens Alley, and we fly under the radar for this, and it drives me crazy. Both you and I try and find stuff that's just not written about, like stuff that needs to be documented. That, like, how does this not exist yet? Okay, I'll do it myself. That's both you and me. Like, I love doing that shit.
And you know what's about to be crazy about it? This is where it's exciting. I decided that every week I am finding new games. I find like 10 to 20 games a week, at least new for Steam and indie games. They're always getting released. Last week was 12. The week before that was like 10. There was 22 the week before that are awesome little games. So since I'm already doing this every week, I decided that I was going to create a new YouTube channel on Indie Gaming Gems.
Hell yeah.
And guess what wasn't created? There was no channel called Indie Gaming Gems. So, over the last week, I recorded a script. I got video editing done. Excellent. And I have the first episode recorded and I chopped out. I haven't sent you it to see yet because I wanted to surprise you on this episode. But I will send you. It's unlisted right now. I've been getting feedback from YouTube creators. My first episode, this is a warning for you listening, is very freaking robotic because I'm reading my reviews. It sounds like, and I also edited it instead of re-recording. So in the future, I'm going to re-record the takes and make sure it's one take for the review. But I'm only saying like a couple sentences per game, but it's really fucking cool. I created a new logo for it. I have custom music for it, and it all flows. And so what this is going to do is this is going to be a perfect, I'm not talking about the damn book on the channel until we get around to the book, is that it is going to be a perfect flow where I'm going to have this Indie Gaming Gems series that I'm going to focus, maybe the developers catch it, and then it's going to flow into the book. And this might be something that we do for future books too, and start talking little piecemeal episodes and create a new YouTube channel for it.
It's really funny that you spring a new YouTube channel on me because I've also been working on something behind the scenes.
Nice.
A new YouTube channel that I haven't mentioned to you yet.
Nice.
So this has to do with chronicling people's finds. Like, like a couple years ago, how like those people found that storage locker full of like Super NES games that were sealed.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the people that found them, the background behind the games, why they're expensive, all that stuff. It's going to be just like 5 to 10 minute videos chronicling those stories.
Nice. That is cool as hell, though. Yeah, that's fun as shit, dude. That'll be a fun one. Yeah, that's the thing, though, is that like I think the YouTube algorithm, like putting it up on this channel, it would get lost. But if you put it as its own thing, it has the potential to grow legs. And so that's where I'm doing the Indie Gaming Gems thing where I'm just going to put it up there, see how it does, shares it if people.
And then just like share a link to VGBS so that they know that it's associated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that you put it in the thing. So wait, it all goes together.
Yeah.
And It'll be the same with your new channel too. You add it as a link, and then you put the website on there so they can find the books later. And right now it's, I got to work on my delivery of it, but I mean, as proof on VGBS, we can shoot the shit, but it's more so I want to make sure that it is talking about the game, like, so I can cover everything for the game. So I have to write a script for it, but I also I was recommended to add some quips in it, a little more personalization. So when I do the second episode, I'm going to do everything in one take, and I'm going to add some personalization to it, and it should be good or I'm not just in one take, in like 2 or 3 takes until I get it right. Because like I literally recorded everything back to back to back to back on the recording, and then I made sure that there was no pauses. And so it sounds like I'm reading. It sounds, like robotic on it.
A little stilted, but yeah,
I'll figure it. But it still covers the games. And there's games out there like Fallen Leaf that's on there that nobody's heard of Fallen Leaf, and it's fucking amazing looking. It looks awesome. And there's every game on there. And then the thing is, if for some reason 1 week there's a dry week where there's only 4 or 5 games that I find that are good, I can literally hit randomize on my damn Switch or on my Steam Deck, and I have.
That's an amazing idea, dude. Like seriously, especially like a weekly thing that people can like tune in and keep up.
And nobody's heard of.
Great. That is
nobody's
great.
heard of it. And it's like the games that I'm covering. And then I'll put games like Balatro in there that people have heard of. Oh, yeah, I heard of that one. And then it's like, well, give me your recommendations. Then they'll recommend them, and I'll add them to the list. And then I'll add them to a future game. Like, hey, this was Tristan said I should check out, this game here. And, it is and I could do fan games. And this is Super Mario Brothers done in 2D. And I could literally, that game that you talked about on the episode earlier, I could feature that in an episode later.
The Rainbow Stars or whatever it was called.
Yep. And since it's indie, it could be anything. So, and it's going to feed into this book that's going to take me years to work on, because I'm not going to have it done. I haven't started it yet. And my Hidden Gaming Gems book took me years to write, to perfect. So it's going to be fun as hell. And I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro to do video editing. That's what I did for the 2 interviews too. I taught myself during the interviews how to use it. I'm getting pretty good at it. It looks fucking good, man. And I'm going to add some better transitions. But so that's the exciting news though, is that Indie Gaming Gems is going to have a channel. Not going to take place at VGBS or anything. We're still going to do VGBS.
Separate.
Because it's fun. But
I'm still trying to think of a good name for mine. I haven't even got that far.
Oh, yeah. Come up with branding, and then, you'll make a badass logo. You'll have craziest animations to it and stuff as you do. Yeah. That stuff's amazing. Yeah, I know you did the video for the Complete Genesis, which is dope. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
No worries, man.
Dude,
That's fun to me.
So I shared it with a few people, including, I think, a couple of listeners of VGBS, and they're like, oh my God, where do you have all the time? And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, you just make it happen. It's passion, dude. It boils down to passion.
And my thing is that me doing this channel just adds one layer onto what I'm already doing. I'm already finding and interestingly getting all these games, and I've been doing this gathering for years.
But between you and me and our projects, we're eventually going to have this video game empire.
Resume. We got resumes, man.
I know.
But yeah, and now here's the thing is I'm going to have fun making this channel. If people like it, it'll grow. If people don't like it, I'm making something cool that I can personally reference when I make the book.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for me. I am looking for nothing from anything with it. I'm just having fun.
Damn straight.
That's it. And to me, it's also, it helps me scale it in, because what you don't realize is that when you start gathering up all this stuff, even when I recorded, because I covered 20 games in this first episode. Wow. And it's a 12-minute, 13-minute video. I did it like piecemeal, real fast, and it works out real well. But what you don't realize is that when I went back and added the footage, it's so cool to see me talk about it while the video.
Yeah, over it. Yeah, seriously.
It gives you more of an appreciation of the games.
Yeah, dude.
So then that's going to give me a deeper appreciation when I write about them in the book. So it's and then I could re-reference that 12-minute video and when I write the review again to stimulate, because I'm gonna do it over time.
Well, not only that, you're already going to have those scripts written, so you could just copy and paste into your book if you really wanted to.
So for the video, it's like a paragraph. If I do it like I did Hidden Gaming Gems, it was like 2 to 4 pages of reviews. 2 to 4 page reviews. Yeah, Hidden Gaming Gems was huge. And the thing is, do I need to cut off like Indie Gaming Gems? Maybe I only do 1-pagers and I do it a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I gotta figure it out, because I might do it like I do Metroidvania Chronicles, but then if I cover the reviews like that, is because I want to make it a little more personal. Because Hidden Gaming Gems was personal reviews, kind of keep it a little more personal for Indie Gaming Gems. So that's going to take a while. Is I'm going to write that different style than my Chronicles. Yeah, it's different. It's fun though. I like doing all the different stuff. And the thing is, like, where do we find the time? Well, there's no time limit, so I can just work on it little by little.
Yeah, dude, this took 4 years.
Yeah.
My console book was, ultimately it took 10 years. Altogether.
Genesis book 2017 is when I started it, man.
Yeah.
Like I was a sergeant first class in the Army, going to the Drill Sergeant Academy. Now I'm at the Sergeant Major Academy, going to be a sergeant, like 2 ranks that were unattainium ranks that I never thought I would get. And now I'm going to that years later, about retired in the Army. And I'm finally releasing my Sega Genesis book I've been working on. Like I was laying that book out while I was doing drill sergeant pitches in the Army. That's what I was doing to pass the time. Like, that's the wild thing. And of course, we're still heavily involved with premium edition games and releasing games and ensuring that all gets done. We're keeping things completely indie with premium, which is great. But yeah, this Indie Gaming Gems book and channel came from me finding way too many amazing games that we can't possibly release them all for premium.
Yeah.
And the one thing is, I'm going to try to cover games that don't inherently have a physical. Some of them will, but because like if I cover Balatro, I'm pretty sure Balatro is going to get a physical. You know what I mean? I think I'm covering Frogun Encore on the first episode, and Frogun, the first one, had a limited run games release. Yeah. Encore one would assume Encore would get treatment, but yeah. But I'm also going to, I can cover big games too as an episode. Like these are larger games that are indie. Doesn't mean that the games aren't still independently developed. So it's fun. Yeah, it's a fun thing with the projects, man. And, is there any other projects or anything you want to chat about? Or should we move over to the BS homework section?
BS homework, man.
BS homework, and we'll close out the episode. So we had BS homework. That'll be the next BS homework, the messenger, by the way.
Oh, no. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
So for BS homework, though, we are thinking about playing the messenger for the next episode. We haven't really covered it before. And, for premium edition or with premium edition games coming around and everything. And, Kyle and I always like talking about Ninja Gaiden. And Ninja Gaiden was an amazing thing. So, Messenger has Ninja Gaiden and turns into a Metroidvania, does crazy shit. I've never beaten it. And then the other thing to keep in mind for those of you that want to play it with us that are listening for the Messenger is that there is a second quest online if you play the PC version and get it. And there's a mod. You have to manually apply a mod patch, but there is a second quest. So I want to play the second quest. I want to try to play the second quest, but I want to beat the game first. We'll see if I can beat it by the next time we record or not. That'd be part of the adventure. But that is my goal, is to beat Messenger. And I am in the Metroidvania section on my save file. So I'm going to try to pick it up and learn. It's complicated, man. It gets fucking crazy. If you haven't played past the beginning, man, it's fun. It's a cool game. But so let's talk a little bit about Sea of Stars. We realized, Tristan and I, that I don't think we need to be tackling role-playing games on
That's a bad idea.
I guess
in an ideal world.
Yeah, Mario RPG I think was the exception to the rule. I think I think we were able to.
Well, because I wasn't not going to play that game. That one means so much to me. Sea of Stars, yeah, I want to play it, but it's
no,
not
Sea
like
of
a
Stars
franchise
is what
that,
I
like,
call an essential backlog RPG.
uh,
Not because like Mario RPG was like, oh yeah, we need to play this because we played this as kids. Like we need to get this in our life. That was a combination of nostalgia and backlog. Sea of Stars, it looks like freaking Chrono Trigger. It looks amazing. It plays fun. It's great. The story is engaging.
music is awesome.
I think I played through like one to two bosses. Maybe I got past the whole intro stage where the kids are training, and then you meet your buddy again. So I got a couple notes that I took, but it's very vague, and I haven't played it at all since I moved from Hawaii. I just wrote, reminds me of Chrono Trigger a ton. Intro is decent. It gets you involved with the main protagonist. It involves you. I said in here, which I think is hilarious. I feel like Gao, who's the guy who cooks for you. I was like, that's basically Barry, right? From Premium.
Yeah.
That's basically Barry. Gao. So I thought that's hilarious though. So I said, I love the game. Every like hidden path as you play, everything, it seems pretty obvious. There's no like true hidden secrets that I found near the beginning portions of the game. Like, so if you're on the map and you go left or right, if you go one way, you're going to find a secret. You go the other way, you're going to continue the map. And it's very easy, which I do like. I don't like to be like miss something. I hate having to miss something when I'm playing a role-playing game that's hundreds of hours.
Oh no, dude. It's terrible.
So I actually wrote here, love the game, but basically after the first boss or so, I think I might have gotten the second boss, I found myself playing other stuff in my backlog. That's what I wrote. I still want to eventually beat this game. It's in the backlog. It's a perpetual forever backlog game for me. And that's how we play BS Homework, is if we played a little bit and it goes through our backlog, that was the adventure, man. We just haven't had time to talk about it is all. I wanted to give us a little bit of time just in case you wanted to play it. So how far did you get, Tristan?
I got to the part where you see the icon on your Switch menu.
You did it. You did it. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. It's why we call this bullshit homework. There is a thing to be said with homework where you just procrastinate on the shit until you have to play it. And there's nothing saying we ever have to play the games. So it just goes into the backlog. And
I know, but yeah, we've been how
cool
long
game,
has it been? I've got no excuse. I have no excuse this time.
I went through and played all of Elden Ring and the DLC.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane that I was able to do that. I went and finally played through and beat Fez. I went through and played through and beat Tunic. Like, cool. I went through and played some epic games.
That's fun.
That I finally beat Turtles. Which that one actually, I found a complication why I couldn't beat it and play it and beat it though. So initially when I played it in Hawaii on streaming, it was controlling two characters. And I was like, what the hell? It's starting to piss me off. Because I was playing on my Steam Deck and it played it with it controlled first two characters, so I couldn't play the damn game. I put it on the Legion Go. It was doing the same damn thing, but I had downloaded it. I'm like, why is it still playing with two characters? What the heck? I found out that if you put the Steam app in big picture mode, when it connects controllers, it assigns it automatically some way. So somehow it registered as two controllers. So once I disabled that, it worked fine.
That's so weird.
So I'm finally able to play Turtles Rescue or Turtles TMNT, the new one. I also played Rescue Palooza, by the way, but that's a different beast. If you've ever heard of Rescue Palooza, oh my god.
Yeah, I have.
Oh my god, that's a scope creep that we don't need to do right now. But yeah, so I played shit tons of games. So I had no excuse not to play like Sea of Stars, but I also was working with my Lenovo Legion Go, being able to play all these amazing games, having lots of space, and playing some AAA titles. The other game that I have installed that I'm probably not going to add as a bullshit homework is I do want to play the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy game. Okay. $70 on sale for 20 or under 20. So it I can't play it in full screen because it chugs too much on the the Legion go, but I can play it in handheld mode, and it's fun as shit. Like, I just think it's cool. I watched all the movies back then. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but it just seems really fun.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I actually read the books before the movies came out, so
Nice.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, the game is freaking excellent. It's like every 3D action game nowadays with like big budget. It's cool.
That's super cool. Yeah.
But it's not going to go on a bullshit homework because there's no way in hell we're going to play it between.
Oh, and I guess that's one thing that I'll bring up about Sea of Stars and kind of why I never picked it up. I had kind of a mental block on it, and I do with RPGs and any game that is like more than 30 hours to beat. Because I know, like, if I start a game, I'm going to want to keep playing. But if I know I don't have time to do it, it's hard for me to start.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why I never started Sea of Stars, because I didn't want to pour that 100 hours into it. It's the same thing with, like, any TV series that I'm kind of late to the party with. I'm sure I would enjoy the hell out of Game of Thrones, but there's no way I'm going to start and finish that series, because that's such a commitment.
I'm so glad that I watched it as it came out season by season. It was so good. I'm watching the new
one.
I'm
sure it's amazing. Great. Yeah, like
it's great. It's like the new Lord of the Rings show. It's great. I've been watching.
Yeah. That's why I haven't started that one either. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but I haven't watched even episode 1 of Rings of Power, because I know that I'm going to get sucked into it and I don't have time for it.
Well, I mean, I always have time to watch an episode or two. And I feel like season 2 is much better than season 1. Season 1 is a little slow starting. You got to get used to the characters. But I like it. My other thing is I also like Star Wars The Acolyte, and a lot of people don't like that, and it was canceled recently. But I thought it was fine. I enjoy what somebody creates for what they create. I don't really have an expectation. So some people, like, that are mega fans, have an unrealistic expectation of what they want. And if it doesn't meet that specific expectation, they can't enjoy it. I just like watching something new.
It's funny you mention that, because I can't mention it because it's part of my book. So, but it's funny. It's very appropriate, because that's something that's in one of my new books I'm working on.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, though, is like, and I feel like because I've gotten this creative niche out of my system, I can only create so much. I don't feel like I am going to want to do anything better than the creator of Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or whatever. Yeah, so I'm good to just enjoy it as a thing, because I'm going to go work on hidden gaming gems and make that cool. And
we have our own, strengths and in our own wheelhouse, and let's stay in our own lane.
Exactly. But the thing is that everybody who is critical of things, they're probably not wrong with a lot of those critiques. And it probably could be done better, but also, like, I didn't create it. I'll let them make it.
I can't do it better.
And I mean, sure, though, there might be some director's cuts of stuff that come out in the future or later. I mean, Zack Snyder has done it for his stuff in the past. I have a huge backlog of, like, movies and TV to watch too. Like, it's bad.
No, I do.
Yeah, but it's fun. So The Messenger will be the next one. Now, I will tell you, Tristan, you don't have to beat it. Just play as much as you want, and we'll go through. My goal is to I want to beat it, but will I? We'll see. And basically all you gotta do is play enough so we can talk about the cool shit with it. Like, if you put a few hours into it, it'll be cool. I don't know how many hours the game takes to beat, but if you're adding Metroidvania to it, it probably takes a while.
I mentioned this before we started recording, but it gives me a reason to, like, open my physical copy, and I'm glad to do it. So.
I would say a good goal for you would be to get to the transition point where it turns into the Metroidvania, because that's a fun part. There's some boss battles you have to get used to, some challenging bosses.
I thought you were going to say get past the part where the icons on the Switch.
That would be good. Be good to play the games. I will tell you, though, like, there's some backlogs, man, that, like, are crazy to me, because, like, I had one where it's like, okay, well, I haven't beaten some of the premium edition games, and I'm like, once I get the physical, I'm gonna then beat it with my physical copy. I still haven't went through and done that for Raji. I need to go through and, like, master that game. That game is awesome. Because I'll do is, like, I'll play the shit out of the games when we first sign it, before we sign it, to make sure that it's enjoyable. But I also don't want to completely master, because I want to do it with the physical cartridge.
Yeah.
And I hadn't done that with that one or Eagle Island Twist. I did it with Love 3. I did it with a few games, but like I haven't done it with every game. I did it with this game. Beat it. I even beat it in Mega Mat mode where you beat the Super Mega Beast, the Remnants, the Beast Remnants, which is what that's actually officially called.
For those of you who have not played Eagle Island Twist, man, I cannot.
Dude,
I can't recommend that game enough. I really can't.
Yeah. So good, man.
So good.
And I mean, we can go out and say it, but we're not doing the physical, unfortunately, for Iron Meat. They are going with a different company. But I would love to have done that physical. That would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But get to sign them all, brother.
It is what it is.
So there was one other piece of bullshit business that we have to talk about. Talking about the way that we collect in Nintendo and all that. We kind of alluded to it. We didn't cover it. So my question to you is, how have your collecting habits changed? And is Nintendo, the way that they handle this next console generation, going to potentially change? Because I know it will for me. And I've already kind of changed the way I play games. So that's the interesting question is, like, have your habits changed?
So first and foremost, yes, very much so. I was always, I mean, like, going back into my like collecting heyday, I was just trying to learn like what was out there. So that's why I gravitated toward YouTube channels like Gamester81, our friend John Lester. And any websites that like highlighted stuff that wasn't common.
Yeah.
And there weren't a whole lot of people doing that back even in the early aughts. Which is one of the reasons why I put my console book together in the first place, right? Like I was looking at all these different sources, and not one person or one source like mentioned everything, and that's what I tried to go and do. That was the aim of my book. One of the things that I have a lot of fun with as a collector, especially like, sharing my collection and my knowledge with like other collectors, that's where it's fun. Like if you have your collection to yourself and you're an isolationist, it works for you. That's not how I am. Like I actually try it. I try and branch out and enjoy this passion with other passionate people like Jeff here. But like I would always love whenever they would come over, and I had an extensive console collection, and they're like, "What is that? What is that? What is that?" Like I love that stuff. But now that I've done my console book, I've taken all the pictures that I need for it, and I'm like expanding into like larger items and don't have like room for bulk. I've actually gotten rid of 3/4 of my collection.
Really?
It's at its peak, yes.
Wow.
3/4 of my collection is gone now. In the hands of other collectors who will enjoy it, more than I will at this point. I actually just I reached out to. Have you ever heard of the video game Kraken?
The video game Kraken. I can't say that I have.
Yeah, so he has a website. I think his name is Nicholas Robillard. He lives in Canada, I believe, but he's a huge console collector.
Really?
Yeah, he knows everything about everything. He's on the level of like Leonard Herman and Game
Really?
Yeah.
So he's like the scholar, huh?
Mm-hmm. He absolutely is, but he flies under the radar. He's got a really good website. It's the videogamekraken.com. But I reached out to him because he let me use a lot of his resources for my book right here. He was gracious enough to do that, and as a thank you, I wanted to like help him out. And I had an obscure console. I reached out to him. I'm like, "Hey, dude, do you have a Opera Japan Play Junction?" He's like, "No, but it's on my list. I haven't seen one for sale in a long time." I'm like, "Hey, as a thank you for letting me use the stuff in the book, I'm gonna send you one CIB. Like I'm the one who opened it." So he's like super appreciative, and it goes toward like a huge collection. Like I don't want to have 500, 600 consoles in my collection. I don't have room for it. So
exactly.
I'm going to give it to some other person who has a museum, and it's better served in his collection. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of things in mine.
Yeah. It's like
so now
give it a
my
better
collection is
home.
very curated now to stuff
Okay.
that really means stuff to something to me.
Okay, so you got like a little curated collection.
Yeah, I know that was really long-winded, but I just don't go out and buy stuff like I'm like, oh, I don't have that, I need to buy it. No, it really has to be something unique or something that I really want to play now.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense though.
Mhm.
So mine has been like, because I move all the time.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't have to worry about moving now.
Yeah, like my collection has pared down over the years to where I kind of focus on what I'm interested in and what I truly want. But then I further complicated, or actually life further complicated stuff last year to where I inherited all of Kyle's collection too. And
Yeah.
so I went from like, moving toward my favorite NES games, TurboGrafx 16. I had all the Neo Geo stuff. And then like it was like Switch stuff, but I only collected the Switch that I thought was cool. And that was turned into thousands of games.
Yeah.
Which was insane. But it was interesting because now that I've gotten, Kyle's whole collection too, it's like now I got to figure out how I want to tweak that to be more personalized. And it might be a amalgamation of taking all the stuff that I was nostalgic for combined with how I started to collect. I also stopped buying anything on like eBay or auction websites or online, and only stuff that I find in person. So like all the TurboGrafx and PC Engine stuff that I've bought so far has been all in person and nothing online. So like, I mean, I got a copy of, I think, Sidearms at a Game On. I got a few other games too. And like you found me a couple of like aftermarket homebrew games at Midwest Gaming Classic. So, and to me, it's like, I'm never going to get rid of anything that I've gotten personally. I keep all that stuff too. And then it's like what I'm currently collecting for games. So if I get a Captain Lou Albano, that's going to go with my, my wrestling figures that I have, along with some other characters. Like my wife got me a Brother Love for Christmas or something. That is like ridiculous. So I'll just add it to that and just have like more of a personal nostalgia to it. But the interesting thing is that like the way I play games has changed drastically over the last years, especially finding all these indie games. So it's the introduction of the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck changed the way that I play because I would rather play all my indie stuff in one factor and not have to wait till cartridges come out for Nintendo Switch. So now I can play all the stuff from Steam. My Steam library is insane. And it's mostly geared toward indie. And then I play Switch, but I don't combine them. So if I have a game on Switch, it's not on my deck, and vice versa. So which is crazy because I got lots of Switch stuff. But then I realized when I move, if I don't bring all the cartridges with me, I can't play the games. So, and then I added the Lenovo Legion Go for AAA games now, and I have a way. And the Lenovo Legion Go is a Windows PC. So I mean, I'm literally recording on it right now. So it's Windows. So I can play anything and everything on the thing, and it's moderately powered. So this is where it goes into, will our collecting habits change depending on how Nintendo handles this Switch predecessor? And for me, I feel like if the Switch 2, the Switch predecessor that's released, and everyone's assuming it's next year, I think next year they're going to announce when it's coming out. They're not going to. I don't think it's coming out next year, but that's just me because there's no.
You don't think they'll try and get it like right before Christmas next year?
Maybe before Christmas next year. Everyone is anticipating the spring.
Although they typically, I was going to say they typically do it in like March, don't they?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like on the third-party publisher perspective, the wickets aren't in place right now. So if they do a Switch 2 launch, like the wickets aren't in place for any of the third-party publishers to just like jump on and start producing games for it. So they would have a very slow launch, and Nintendo doesn't do slow launches. They've been doing massive launches because Switch had a slow build. And I don't think they want to do that with Switch 2. But that being said, maybe we should be alarmed, because if they don't make the Switch 2 backward compatible, I feel like I'm only going to use the Switch 2 as a first-party Nintendo machine for nostalgia. I'm not going to go all the third parties and all the crazy shit. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole like I'm doing with Switch. I'm going to keep it as, all right, they're doing a new Zelda, they're doing a new Mario, I'm going to pick that up. But I'm not going to buy all of the things. And when I say backward compatible, I don't just mean the cartridge. So if gamers bought a game digitally and it doesn't transfer over, or if the cartridges don't work, I feel like that's a double-handed thing, right? Because I don't want to have to rebuy all the Virtual Console stuff again, or into Nintendo Switch Online, or do all that stuff. Like, it's like we should be able to featureize and modernize things to where, all right, Switch stuff works in Switch 2. There's a little notch that is for
just
Switch
like the
2.
DS and 3DS,
just like DS and 3DS, so that way you can't accidentally put a Switch 2 game in your Switch. And we rock and roll, man. Or there's 2 slots, but I feel like the notch is fine. And then it's just exponentially larger cartridges, and we continue to move on. If they mess that up, I feel like it's going to be a game changer, because I can literally play everything on the Legion Go and on Steam Deck, one or the other. I don't need a Switch. I don't need I don't play PS5 or Xbox, because literally I played Elden Ring on the Lenovo Legion Go. I played it laying in bed.
That's funny you mention that, because I never really thought about the fact that currently, right, in this console generation with the Switch, that's how I treat the Switch, as a first-party Nintendo machine. I really don't branch out to other games, and when I do, I purchase them on PlayStation 5.
Exactly.
Or PlayStation 4. I mean, they're still making PS4 games. So, like, a lot of these shmups that come out, they come out on the Switch, but they also come out on the other platforms. So I don't even bother with the Switch, honestly. So it's funny you mentioned that, because I never thought about that before. That is actually how I treat the Nintendo Switch right now, just for first-party Nintendo games.
Now, you probably have a lot of Switch games too, because I mean,
I do.
Stars.
But I mean, mainly,
yeah. And so and if I could actually play the PS5, because the PS5 is also our media center for how we watch all the apps and the shows.
Gotcha.
So I don't have the opportunity to play games on the PS5 too much. If we bought a second PS5, which would be overkill, then I could play PS5 games, and then I'd probably expand over to PS5 for collecting a little. I do have PS5 games that I found. I mean, I have Elden Ring for it, but I haven't been able to play it because the TV's always taken up. But like, that's why I don't collect for PS4 or PS5 too much, is because I don't have the opportunity to play it. So for me, the Switch was this, because I mean, we were doing the Switch Mania Playcast back in the day. We were collecting. I was getting all the things, and it was really fun. And it's like, there's so many games that came out just for Switch, and being a Nintendo collector since I was a kid, it's like getting the Nintendo collections, but getting it for the Switch. It might be a good sunset for me as a collector and getting old, is like letting the Switch be its last leg, and then they don't backward compatible it.
Well, the other problem with the Switch right now, and you know this better than anyone else because you're writing books about it, it's impossible to keep up with a full library. It's kind of the same thing with Limited Run. Limited Run started making their games in like 2013, and they would release one game or two games maybe every 2 or 3 weeks. But now it's like 15.7 games every 2 days. So only people like Barry can keep up with a full set if you have like an infinite money cheat code turned on. So like Nintendo.
But it's funny because there are collectors out there that claim that they will collect all the Switch games.
They're still doing,
but not limited release companies. because they're like, I'm only going to collect the ones that go to retail. And then I'm like, yeah, but Premium even has games at retail with small companies. Limited Run had some in Best Buy. And then the other pieces,
how do you draw the line? You can't.
Because they're really just trying to justify not having to collect all the Limited Run stuff. And the thing is now if you eliminate Limited Run, they have major IPs. You're eliminating.
I know, yeah. Now you don't have any Konami games. Like what?
You don't have Doom Eternal. Like it's like I'm because that was my main thing.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
There are people who said they're only going to collect US, and I'm like, all right, so then you don't want Final Fantasy VII, you don't want Final Fantasy VIII, you don't want Onimusha, you don't want Okami. Like all those are released early in the Switch's lifespan. You don't want
I Am Setsuna.
I Am Setsuna first year release. Like there's so many amazing games for all, and it is a region unlocked console that that console you have to collect all the things if you want to have a full collection. It's kind of reminds me of the Famicom, except for we know of the games now. Because Famicom there's a lot of amazing games that didn't come to the US. But like to get a complete US NES set is the standard. Yet there are all these Famicom games that are untouched, that are amazing platformers and stuff.
Yeah. So when you were doing like the playcast and talking about and like trying to keep up with the entire NES library and buying all the things,
Switch library.
Switch. Sorry, what did I say?
NES.
NES. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Way off. Switch library. At what point were you like, okay, too much? Do you remember?
I never went for a full set.
Okay.
Because my thing is that I'm not interested in getting the sports games, and there's not a lot for Switch, by the way. But and also like a lot of the casual games and the because I was burned out by the Wii and the Wii U with the damn shovelware. So
sure,
I'm just not gonna buy all the shovelware stuff. And so I automatically went to, I'm going to go to stuff that I feel like is nostalgia. And they have all the way from Atari all the way to modern, every console, which goes hand in hand with my Hidden Gaming Gems book, which I thought was cool. But I'm like, I'm going to go all the way from Pong to Pong to the Switch, and collect from all the generations. And I felt like it was cool. Barry was getting it all. Turd Ferguson was getting it all the whole time.
Barry is getting it all.
I know. And he's getting it all for every console too. Now, like the real talk is like I call it the Kyle conundrum. What happens with all the stuff when you're no longer there?
I wrote an article on that in Gamer that I talked to you about. Yeah, so
I know. Yeah, you referenced the Kyle conundrum.
I did.
And so that is the thing that I am also very cognizant of as I am currently collecting this is like, what is my daughter going to be interested in? And she's very nostalgic for Switch and for 3DS. So if I collect for Switch, I have a good inkling that she is going to have an appreciation for that and continue that on.
Because that's a bond you guys had, right?
Yeah, and all the older stuff, it's like if it's Pokemon, she'll be interested in the IPs, the stuff we played. I remember she remembers playing Mario 64 as a real like 2 or 3 year old. So like she's gonna have that stuff and Mario Odyssey and stuff like that. But it's one of those things where if you don't have that plan, that's a very, very interesting thing, man.
Well, and that brings up the greater point, and a lot, something that a lot of people outside of the military, in the military, you think about it a lot more, especially if you've deployed before, but you need to have a will in place, so that, you're not there to, you're not there. If you're dead, you're not there to tell people where you want the stuff to go. So make sure you have your ducks in a row.
I mean, the other pieces, it goes hand in hand with our projects is like, I consider the stuff that we create evergreen. What that means is that Jeff and Tristan's books, when we are gone, will be there. They will also be able to be printed and produced and sold by our loved ones when we're gone forever. So they can continually have a stream of something when we are gone. So if London wants to continue, she can print out all my books forever and continue to process them and sell them. And make a little extra side cash if people enjoy them. So I feel like evergreen content is some of the most important thing you can create, like that helps continue that legacy on. Now, on the other side, if she wants no interest in that, she doesn't have to. And our stuff exists out there with people who have collected them, and it's out there, which is still cool too. But I feel like that's another thing that I started to add to things. I didn't start thinking about Evergreen until, Mortality last year with Kyle's passing. I started to think about all this stuff because it puts things in perspective for you. But
impossible not to.
Yeah, and that's how my collected habits has changed though. Is that like I like hone it in, tool it in a little bit.
Yeah, I am night and day a different collector than I was even 5 years ago.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah. And so, but if Nintendo Switch 2 is not backward compatible, I am going to just have the console. I will play it and play for the first party stuff. And I will continue to play and collect indie on my portable systems that I have in place. And I will continue to support what companies like Premium Edition do. Because everything we release for the consoles, I will obviously play and collect because I have a vested personal interest into the cool stuff that we do. Because obviously,
I mean, you're just mentioning like thousands of indie games that you've come across, and obviously some of these, more than obviously what we've touched deserve to have physical copies, but one at a time we can give them the treatment that they deserve, right?
And the thing that blows the mind is, one of the most important things of one of the books I didn't realize was, we mentioned it before, the NES Oddities book. I had all the homebrew games in there, and all that sourcing
for
was
preservation.
Nintendo age. And so I've already seen with these indie games, some of them are gone off Steam and gone off the internet already. So I have some games that I have preserved and I have cataloged that don't exist on Steam anymore, which means that Tristan can't even go in there and search for it right now. Yeah. Doesn't exist. And so there's going to be games that I'm going to cover in the YouTube series and in the book that will be preserved just in case the way that we currently consume it is gone. Because if Steam goes up, or they change their like they do a Steam 2.0 and they completely change everything and all the old games go away, it could happen. They're a big company. That's all gone. And the more we can preserve, I can't preserve it all, but I can damn sure pick out some cool stuff and highlight it. And that'll at least be some preservation that we can do. That's the interesting thing. That's why I enjoy doing it. And in the end, it'll be fun to do. And that's another way to collect, is just collecting information.
Exactly. And I love collecting information. I love knowing stuff that I never knew before, especially discovering things that other people didn't know.
And that is going to be my new show. Is everybody's gonna? I feel, because I've seen the best Metroidvanias, the best indie games thing, and it's all stuff that I know. And so the stuff that I'm covering, people like, if people start to see it in the algorithm, they're going to like it. My delivery is freaking robotic at the beginning, but I'll figure that shit out as I do more episodes. I'm currently doing what Xander recommended, which is build a backlog of a few episodes, so that way when I launch the first episode, I have like a 2-3 week backlog to get another episode recorded.
If you're recording and you just you don't know like what direction you want to go with your show, just look at your wrist. What would Tristan do?
What would Tristan do?
So dumb.
Well, with that, I think it's time to wrap up the episode, Tristan. That's what Tristan would do.
That's right.
Well, everybody, we appreciate you for listening to the episode. Remember that Booktopia starts on the 4th of September, which hopefully we'll have this episode out before then, at least on YouTube, but maybe also on the app. And thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Later, guys.